Hey guys, welcome to Pocket Saga. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Ash started in Kalos, Part 4, Final. This story is Ash XYZ by the respected author Festivewillow69. Make sure to show some love for their work. Before starting, if you are interested in Pokemon fanfictions, you can consider subscribing this channel and like this video that keeps me motivated to upload more. Now let's dive in. Garchomp. Use Dragon Claw. Counter with Dragon Tail. While the two dragon types moved with impressive speed, the atrocious Pokemon was quicker to the draw and whacked the mock Pokemon with its green glowing tail, forcing the dragon, ground type to slice its arms into the floor to avoid hitting the others. Charizard. Use Dragon Claw. Alon ordered. Lucario. Close combat. Both Pokemon were able to go on the offensive, and each was able to land a blow. Counter Lucario with Aqua Tail. With water sprouting and swirling around the water, Dragon-type's tail, and was also able to splash the Aura Pokemon with enough force. He yelled in pain as he reverted back to normal upon crashing to the ground. Lucario. Return. Useless, useless, useless. Your Pokemon are strong, but I've trained myself to be more than anyone could be in the Pokemon League. I have become a mountain to you ants. I'm merely saving the butterflies by killing the spiders. If you see me as evil, then I shall be. For in my new world your perception as such will be wiped away, and I will then represent righteousness for the whole world. The weak and the poor shall be ground under my boot, and if that angers you, try to overcome me. Oh blah blah blah, are you done with your evil monologue already? I know those lines and you took them from like 6 different iconic anime villains. Ash told off the armored villain. So are you going to fight or just be another windbag of a villain that's always taken down by the hero, which we are? HMPH. Hypocrite. You just took a line yourself, but I see you've grown tired of prattle. So be it. Aqua Tail. In the tower, Trevor has reached the top of Prism Tower. Not the same level as Ash, Alon and Lysandre, but the highest that the elevator can go. Trevor found the machine that took control of Squishy, and one person he was not expecting in the slightest. Professor Sycamore. Trevor. It's been quite a while, hasn't it? It's good to see you, my boy. But you're uninvited to this level. Professor. Why are you doing this? The short redhead questioned. A quarter of my life, wasted to serve as a joke for those I called friends. Well, we'll see who's laughing when the only ones that remain are Lysandre Labs. Professor. Just because they led you on doesn't mean you should wipe everyone else out of petty revenge. No one is innocent. They just hadn't the chance to make fun of my yet. Wow. I sure am packing in the villainous quotes, aren't I? Professor. You're my scientific idol. The professor I know would never do this. Trevor started to cry. I'm not a professor anymore, kid, and I'm no longer Sycamore. It's Mariko 6 now. Please, I don't want to hurt you. Neither do I, my favorite protege, but if you continue to defy us, I will defeat you. The older man responded. Sniffling, Trevor wiped his eyes and stared with determination at his former idol. Then I've got no choice. Tyrantrum. Let's go. Trevor then brought out his fossil Pokemon. Mariko 6 sighed. I hoped you'd be the sniveling coward you always were, but you've actually grew a spine. Your newfound courage won't help you. Blastoise, go. It's not new, and sure, I may be scared, but if there's one thing Serena has been trying to teach me for years now, it's not having fear that makes one brave, but acting despite it. Tyrantrum. Surpass evolution. Mega Evolve. Blastoise. Surpass evolution. Mega Evolve. Mariko 6 yelled as they both activated a key stone so that their Pokemon would evolve. Tyrantrum. Use Thunderfang. Counter with Dragon Pulse. Although before the water started could fully prepare its attack, the T-Rex was able to charge with enough speed and clamp its electrified claws around the bulky Pokemon, shocking it painfully between its teeth. Quick, use your arms for Water Pulse. Aiming its 2 cannon-loaded arms at the rock, Dragon-type's eye, it fired, which caused a strong splash from the 2 orbs it formed. The despot Pokemon roared as he let go and dropped the huge turtle. Quick, use your tail to swat it into the machine. Turning around swiftly, Tyrantrum smacked the recovering water starter with its tail, sending the screaming turtle into the machine, damaging it. Hey, don't touch the machine, Mariko 6 growled as he returned his Pokemon. Garchomp, go. Dragon Claw. Alon continued, proceeding with their assault as Charizard X landed 2 slashes against the atrocious Pokemon. Charizard, use Solar Beam. Charizard Y quickly prepared some green energy in his mouth, and fired a powerful beam which exploded against Mega Gyarados, pushing it back. Why isn't it fainting? We've already hit it with enough super effective moves to KO it 10 times by now. That's because I've given my Gyarados plenty of Mega Evolution energy beforehand. He didn't evolve because he wasn't in battle. But now that he's in his ultimate form, not amount of super effective moves will stop him. Muhahaha. Now, use Stone Edge. A row of blue rocks jutted from the floor in a line, going so fast that the slower flame Pokémon couldn't dodge and was hit by the rock-type move, howling in agony as he flew up, only to smash down while turning to normal. Charizard. Ash cried out in worry. Return. Greninja, use Ice Beam. Leaping up, Ash's ace fired a zigzag of icy energy, but the enemy was undeterred. Dragon Tail. Gyarados as well leapt high in the air with a glowing green tail, and was going to one-shot the starter when Ash yelled. Florges. Counter with Moonblast. Dark Pulse. Along with a pink orb, a stream of black and purple rings stopped the incoming attack, which resulted in an explosion that pushed the water dragon Pokémon back. Ash and Alon looked to see the pink-haired newswoman they saw at the beginning of the Pokémon League. Wait, you're that lady? Ash recognized. Malva? Alon blinked as she walked up to the two boys with her Mega Houndoom. This ends here, boss, she said. Malva, what's the meaning of this betrayal? Simple. When I discovered your true colors, I decided to do something about it. And right now that's siding with these teenagers. Like Alon, I'd imagine, this is not what I signed up for. This world is nowhere near perfect, but this is not the way to make it better. You don't throw out the baby by throwing out the bathwater. People like them are proof that there is a better way. Then let me ask you, these children that are destined to lose, what kind of world are they capable of making? They're just kids. The greatest men and women in history all started out as kids. Diantha, Sycamore, and everyone else were all kids. Yet that doesn't stop them from changing the world in one way or another. And besides, changing the world isn't something one person can do. It's the adults lending their aid that helps the kids of the next generation change things for the better. The possibilities are real and I aim to see them come to fruition. HMPH, then you're just as naive as those kids. This conversation is through. Gyarados, Stone Edge. Greninja, Water Shuriken. Ash ordered. The ninja Pokémon leapt high into the air to send down 3 water stars, breaking the incoming line of rocks apart. In another part of town, Shauna finally caught up to Squishy thanks to Talonflame, whom was exhausted from carrying her and collapsed on the ground. Sorry Talonflame. I just need this moment to help Squishy. Turning to the legendary Pokémon, she called out to it. Squishy, it's me Shauna. Things are fine now. I know you can see me. Squishy. I know you don't want to do this, it's not you. I know you don't. 2 roots came up and tried to attack Shauna, but Gardevoir and Gudra came out to defend her with both Psychic and Dragon Pulse respectively. Seeing that typical words weren't going to work, the girl then did something nobody was expecting. Squishy, if my words won't reach you, then maybe the power of friendship will. I'm just going to pull something straight out of my butt in hopes of reaching you. She then proceeded to oh gross, she's sticking her hand down the back of her pants. Her Pokémon and even Zygarde recoiled. I've heard of pulling stuff out of your ass, but why must this be literal for the sake of a joke? Wait, is that Shauna pulled the scene from the actual anime where it's Bonnie singing to Squishy in this scene? For those that want to skip the song lyrics, just go past the parts that will be in italic. Squishy. Squishy. You're oh, so very soft, Squishy. Squishy. You're oh, so pretty green, Squishy, Squishy. The cutest I've ever seen. You're happy sleeping in my bag, Squishy. How I wish I understood where you come from, and the way you get all your food from the sun. Mysterious Squishy, how I love you, so come home please, won't you please tell me some more? Squishy and me nuzzling cheeks, best friends forever. We're so happy. I promise I'll never leave Squishy, sweet, little Squishy. Here's my song for you. I'll never leave Squishy. My sweet Squishy. That's you. I'll always know what you're feeling and I'll always be there to catch you. I'll care for you and always be with you. To me, Squishy, your feelings are so real. I'll never leave Squishy. My sweet Squishy. That's you. It's working. The overly sappy friendship song is working since both the squishy in the poop smelling scene and the one here right now had flickering eyes while firing a dragon pulse at a building, missing Bonnie and Shauna in the same way. Zygarde then started to turn green. Squishy, you heard me. You heard me. Shauna began to cry as she went to hug it, but the legendary Pokémon shifted back. Huh, what's wrong? It was only then she noticed that her hands smelled awful and chalked from the smell. Cough, cough, let me wash my hands first. But before she did, Zygarde started to let its cores go, dropping down from its 50% form. Everyone from the tower witnessed it. Is that Squishy? Ash wondered. Who? Malva asked. Mariko 6, what's going on? Lysandre asked his partner, but got the voice of a young teen instead. Sorry, but Sycamore isn't able to answer right now. You're speaking to Trevor now. Down below it shows that Trevor had Mariko 6's earpiece as he, Clemont and a robot called Clembot were working on the machine while the former professor was wrapped up in a grass knot while Mega Florges and Mega Aerodactyl were shown to be watching him, they along with the help of a defeated and returned Tyrantrum having defeated him. Setting the machine to self-destruct, this put Lysandre's plans to a halt. The roots stopped spreading and destroying buildings. The second Zygarde was no longer holding its 50% form either, and the both went down to just being cores. Zygarde has been freed from their control, Malva remarked with a smile. Haha. Looks like you lost your king or queen in this game, Lysandre. Now you can't change the world without your key player. But the villain underneath his armored mask just laughed. Haha. There's no limit to how much you all entertain me. I'm not done yet. Use Dragon Tail, Lysandre commanded. Use Dig, Ash ordered, followed by Alon. Charizard, Dragon Claw. While the ninja Pokémon used a water star to slice through the metal floor, Charizard X flew towards the atrocious Pokémon with claws made of green aura, and was able to counter the incoming tail, pushing the attack back while Greninja burst through the ground and punched in the throat, sending the water dragon type reeling as it hissed. Now use Dark Pulse. Dragon Claw. Dark Pulse as well. With the combined efforts of Greninja, Charizard and Houndoom, the formidable shiny Gyarados finally took enough damage to collapse with a screech, and revert back to normal. So what are you going to do now, Lysandre? Alon told his former boss off. Your Pokémon have been defeated. It's all over, Lysandre. As the armored villain returned his ace Pokémon, he allowed his robotic tentacle-like arms raise him up higher than them while backing up. Such pointless squabble. My dream will not be stopped. Going over to a ledge, Lysandre was prepared to leave the three behind. I'm still committed to recreating this world. He then descended down beyond the point he could see them. It was then that Ash's walkie-talkie began to beep, and he answered it. Ash. A familiar feminine voice called out. Serena? Where are you? I'm in the Lysandre Labs headquarters. I was able to beat all the grunts here and rescue Myron and her Chespy. Myron, are you there? Alon cried out. I'm here, Alon, with Chespy. Are you okay, Alon? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. Chespy's safe too. Great. We're at Prism Tower. Trevor is here as well and Shauna I believe helped Squishy return back to normal. I don't know where Monique is. I'm here. They heard, and the group of three turned to see a woozy Monique, staggering while her wrists all around were bloody and dripping. Monique. Ash cried out in terror as he ran to his friend just before she collapsed. What's wrong? What happened to your wrists? The Hex Maniac gave a weak smile. Had to get blood. Somehow. To escape my bindings. It helped me escape and curse my captors. Meanwhile, Serena and Myron were able to find on the bottom level some kind of huge crystal. They were being protected thanks to Espeon and Weavile. What could this be? The blonde tomboy wondered. It then started to glow red, along with the ill Chespy in Myrene's arms. The glass barrier surrounding the crystal shattered, prompting Espeon to use light screen to help block the glass while the girls flinched. It was then that the Chespin in the redhead's arms started to float to it. Wah! Chespy. She tried to keep a hold on her friend, but let go when she started to float into the air as well and couldn't keep a good grip, landing on her butt with a yelp. Hey! The grass starter was assimilated into the crystal, disappearing into it completely. No, she tried to get her Pokémon but Serena held her back. It's too dangerous, she warned, and was wise to do so because the crystal began to glow white and grow bigger. We need to get away before it's too late. Tugging the crying Myron away from the crystal containing her friend, it wasn't long before the two girls and Pokemon managed to escape before the area collapsed due to writhing tentacles. The two couldn't help but watch as they ran to see a monster rise from the ruins, appearing to be a giant rock snake golem. The sundial in Anastar City began to glow as well. Olympia and her Meowstic watched as it glowed. The sundial is starting to tremble, the gym leader spoke to herself. Hey, Trevor. Ash called out to his friend as everyone entered the room where the ruined machine lay, along with Clemont kneeling over his overloaded bot. He had Monica draped over his shoulders while her wrists were bandaged. So what? He then noticed the former professor whom was still trapped, even after the two Pokemon watching him weren't Mega anymore, Sycamore. Ash, so it seems you've beaten Lysandre, To think you were someone to look up to. Alon said to his mentor bitterly, but here you are. Sorry Alon, but if you were in my shoes, you'd have done the same thing. No, you're wrong. Sure, I'd exact vengeance, but I wouldn't put the entire world at jeopardy doing so. I wanted to hurt Ash and his friends like they hurt you and show that they weren't worthy of Mega Evolution. But you're no longer the man I wished to avenge. It was then that Ash's walkie-talkie began to beep again. Hello? Ash, we have a big problem. Serena and Myron were flying on Altaria's back as she spoke, looking from an eagle-eye view of the golem. There's this giant rock thing, and it's on the move fast to somewhere, heading to the east. We'll keep track of it. It absorbed Chespy. Myron cried out, causing Alon to gasp. Absorb? In the devastated streets of Lumiose, Shauna was able to follow Squishy to where they found the other core, Z2. Oh, another Squishy. The girl smiled. When the Pokemon opened its eye, it trilled as it hopped away. No, wait. I'm good friends with Squishy. The two cores talked to each other, seemingly arguing given their angry eyes, but Shauna didn't want to give up. If you're a friend of Squishy, then we can be friends too. Don't be shy. Do I look all that bad compared to the people you've been around lately? The dark-toned girl giggled as she stooped to her knees and held her arms open. I won't hurt you. I just want to be friends, with everyone I can. Seconds has passed, even going to a minute, but reluctantly Z2 was able to hop into her hands. There we go. It was then that a helicopter started to fly over her, and saw Ash and Trevor waving down to her, resulting in her smiling. That's amazing. So from the looks of it, this golem thing looks exactly like Zygarde in its snake form. Serena told everyone else in the helicopter. It's already moved past Lumiose in the north, and if I had to guess, it's likely heading towards Anastar City. So that's Lysandre's backup plan, Malva said to herself, getting everyone's attention in the compartment. He wants this golem and the sundial to touch each other, since they're filled with Mega Evolution. It absorbed Chespy because it was filled with that energy and grew large enough to collapse a research complex. If a golem of that size as you described comes in contact with the sundial, then they will produce enough light and heat energy to destroy the world. Everyone gasped in horror. Alon slammed a fist into the side of the helicopter. Lysandre, recreating the world at any cost. If he can't have it, no one will. We won't let that happen, Ash retorted. We're going to stop this, no matter what. I'm with you, Ash, Serena agreed. Me too, Trevor nodded. Don't forget me, Shauna cheered. Monique was too weak, but she did nod as she laid on the floor between everyone, resting on Ash's backpack. Myron, I promise. I'm going to save Chespy. The girl clinging to Serena from behind gained a smile as tears appeared in her eyes. Thank you. Flying in closer, the tomboy shouted. Use Moonblast. The humming Pokemon formed a pink orb and fired it at the golem, but roots sprouted up to protect the golem, and then shot forth to attack the girls. Defend with Flamethrower. Altaria was able to keep the roots at bay thanks to her fiery attacks, but now this left her unable to get nearer. In fact, the flying, dragon type was caught by a wing, causing the two females to scream as they fell, only for a sun to shine high in the sky before they were caught each by two Charizard in their respective mega forms. Oh, they're here. Looking upwards, she saw Ash and Alon looking out of the helicopter, along with Alon, Trevor and Shauna. It's them. Setting them down, the two flew up towards the golem. Use Dragon Claw, Alon requested. and use Flamethrower on the golem," Ash ordered. Charizard X flew towards to Altaria and slashed her free from the roots restraining her, while Charizard Y breathed a massively strong stream of fire which was blocked by more roots. Over the horizon, the sundial could be seen, shining so brightly the pathways leading to it were melting into the boiling part of the sea below. Somehow sensing where Chespy was in the golem, Ash smiled. "Greninja, I choose you." Sending his ace out, whom then began to fall towards the ground with the skill of a ninja, Ash commanded, "Everyone, protect Greninja." Right. All those with Pokemon out complied. The two Charizard and Altaria formed a triangle around the water starter frog. "Let me help. Aerodactyl, let's help out." Trevor sent his flying fossil out. "Metagross, let's go." Alon then sent his iron leg Pokemon out. "Mega Evolve." Everyone shouted as Altaria, Aerodactyl and Metagross evolved. Water Shuriken. Forming a large star, she threw it at the bright crystal of the golem. It tried to block it, but the attack was too sharp as it cut through the roots and pierced into the crystal. "There it is. Head towards it." Several roots shot towards them, but Alon was ready. Dragon Claw. Meteor Mash. The two close combat-able Pokemon were able to both slash and rebound the roots away thanks to their awesome power. Flamethrower. Both Ash and Serena commanded, and Charizard Y plus Altaria burned away any roots the previous two couldn't initially deflect. Giga Impact. Trevor's fossil Pokemon gained a purple sphere around himself and orange streams as he plowed right through some roots thanks to both the power of the attack and the sharpness of the rocks sprouting around his body. Psychic. Flamethrower. However, despite the collective power of the Pokemon, there was simply too much and they were wrapped up painfully tight as they moaned and grunted. But just when it seemed like hope was becoming lost, a giant flash of silver-white energy surged forward and hit the golem head-on, creating an explosion big enough to slow the golem and freeing the Pokemon. "Huh?" Ash wondered, but Myron pointed ahead of them. "Look over there." The trainers turned and gasped to see it was all of Kalos's 8 gym leaders, showing off an impressive row of about 58 different Mega-evolved Pokemon, including the other Elite Four and Diantha herself adding another 24 Pokemon. "It's all the gym leaders," Trevor gulped. "Yeah," Shauna cheered again. "Not a moment too soon." Malva chuckled. Roots crawled through the smoke as the golem continued on with its goal. Upon touching down where the gym leaders are and explaining everything to them, Diantha nodded. "Then it's settled. Freeing Chespy is our #1 priority. The target is there, the Water Shuriken." Ash pointed to it. "We'll need to use every ounce of our power to stop it." "You have the full support of the Kalos League," the Pokemon champion nodded. "Hi Ash." Karina skated towards the trainer in question. "I'm so proud you were able to win it all at the league. Your Greninja is super awesome." "Sure is. I never forgot what you taught me," the teen boy said with pride. Karina nodded. "Excellent. Everyone, we are the last line of defense." Diantha spoke up to everyone. "We cannot allow that to reach the sundial. It must be stopped at all costs." "Right." Everybody agreed. Malva soon brought out her full roster and Mega evolved them as well. And now that they were on the ground, Ash, Serena, Shauna and Trevor summoned their full rosters too. Alon. Marin walked up to her friend, unsure on what to say. "Myron. When we meet again, I'll hand Chespy right into your arms myself." The girl nodded. "Okay." Heading to the helicopter, it took off with Monica inside. Alon then focused on the threat to the world at hand as he summoned all his Pokemon and Mega evolved them all. Here it was. 108 Mega evolved Pokemon, 8 gym leaders, 5 Pokemon League elites, 4 Pokemon League participants, 2 of which were finalists. This was the best line to defend the greatest threat that could destroy the world. Everyone was running towards the megalith, and those that could, flying. "Everybody, aim for that Water Shuriken," Diantha yelled as everyone made their charge. "That's where we'll save Chespy." When the megalith responded by trying to swarm them with roots, it didn't take long for everyone to defend. "Steelix, use Iron Tail," Wilkstrom yelled, and the crystal-covered Iron Snake Pokemon's tail glowed with a metal sheen as it batted away some of the roots. Charizard, Flamethrower. Ash was next as his flame Pokemon burned away more roots. As the humans and Pokemon jumped on, Serena, Malva and Alon joined in on that too. Flamethrower as well. Foxy, Houndoom and Charizard X were able to clear a scorching path through the dense roots, but more kept coming. Moonblast. Valerie requested as her Sylveon, Florges, Aromates and Slurpuff blasted away more roots, along with some being removed thanks to the psychic of Olympia's Mega Alakazam, Sigilyph, Slowking and 2 Meowstic. Thanks, Ash expressed to the Fairy-type specialist, but then she was caught in a root with a scream. Valerie. Just go. Save Chespy. I'll help out here, Olympia told the boys. Save that Chespin. Right. Ash and Alon continued forward up the roots. Greninja and Lucario were holding their own, defending with water shurikens and aura spheres, but even they were started to get a bit overwhelmed as the roots started getting hits in, but then another Mega Lucario gave an assist by using Bone Rush. Karina. Ash cheered as he saw her use the roots to skate around before landing next to the two boys. You and the others go ahead, I'll deal with this, the fighting specialist told them. Hey, giant rock monster thing. You think you're all big and strong? Well, we're all awesome. Ha ag ggghhhhhhh, Karina screamed as she flexed and took on her awesome Super Saiyan 3 form, creating a rainbow aura with crackling electricity which was so cool looking that even the roots backed up. With a punch into the air, she cleared a path for the two boys to climb up. Alright boys, time to reach for the goal. So awesome. The two males said in awe before leaving her to defend herself. Yeah, no way those roots will overwhelm her, especially with her awesome mega fighting team. It was then that Ramos came to assist, also aided by Serena and Trevor. Grassnut. Ramos's Gogoat, Mega Venusaur, Trevenant Foxy and Raiden were able to form grass which tied down more roots to create a path, but then they were snagged and dragged into the air. Oh no, Ash cried out. Don't worry about us, Ash. Just keep going, Serena shouted, and Ash had to squint his eyes shut hard to resist going to aid his girlfriend before running up higher. Trying to leap across, the two boys and their Pokemon got snagged by roots in between, but then Mega Volcarona, whom was carrying Violet, came in using Bug Buzz, managed to blast them away, freeing the two. She was also assisted by her Yanmega and Pinsir. Rhyperior. Use Rock Blast. Grant requested from his Aerodactyl as 5 stones shot forth with such power that they ripped through more roots along, stopping some in their tracks, but then Violet was swatted off her Pokemon and screamed until Grant caught her in midair, and the two were thus caught by a root. Violet, Grant. Just get past that wall. Do it now, proceeding to climb the roots and rocks. Some tried to swarm the two and their Pokemon from behind, but were instead frozen by ice shards and ice beams by Wulfric, Shauna and Cybold. Come on Ash and Alon, you can do it, Sean encouraged them before the three were becoming to be overrun. When they overcame the wall, so did Malva, Drasna, Diatha and Clemon with their Pokemon. We need to make a path. Don't worry, we'll handle this. No doubt about it. We've got to help too, Ash chuckled as they ran. Houndoom, Dark Pulse, Chandelure, Flamethrower. U2 Charizard, Greninja, Dark Pulse, Charizard, use Dragon Claw, Alon shouted. U2 Druddigon. Drasna commanded as the two dragon types effortlessly slashed through the roots. Altaria, Noivern, Gudra, Dragon Pulse. The Dragon Specialist Elite 4 member also requested as her ranged dragon types fired multiple rainbow-colored beams to stop the roots. 2 of the Elite 4 were then overwhelmed, but there was still help. Multiple thunderbolts were used to zap away roots as Clemont was left behind. Don't worry about the vines. Just keep moving forward. Diantha and her full team used the best synergy they could to keep both Diantha and the boys safe. Use Psychic. Alon and Diantha commanded as the two Psychic types forced roots to lead up to the crystal. Greninja, Dark Pulse, Florges, Moonblast, Charizard, Solar Beam, Lucario, Aura Sphere. Hydreigon, Dragon Pulse, Porygon Z, Tri-Attack. 6 of the 12 remaining Pokemon unleashed their mighty ranged attacks, which were attempted to be stopped by a wall of roots, but the combined effort was too strong and broke through, exploding the Crydal Wall. Let's go! Everyone shouted as Ash, Alon and all their Pokemon entered through the open hole where pillars of orange-pink crystal with Chespy in the center of it all. Chespy, I'm coming. But now instead of roots, more pillars came from different directions trying to skewer Alon, but he was able to backflip in time. We'll just power through like we did from the beginning, Ash declared. Everyone, use your best moves to push forward. And you as well. Alon spoke to his team as they charged forth. Greninja's water shurikens, Florges' moonblasts, both of Charizard's dragon claws, Lucario's close combat, Garchomp's dragon claw, Metagross's meteor mash, Hydreigon's flash cannon, Porygon Z's psychic, Dusknoir's shadow punches and Gallade's psycho cuts. All these were used to mow down as much of the opposing crystal as they could. Outside, Myron and Monica were hugging each other close with their eyes shut, the megalith having come so close that they could feel the rumbling of the golem. Mega Gengar and Chandelure stood outside protecting against any incoming attacks. Alon took one final leap as crystals started to go right for him. Chespy, it's Alon. I've come to save you, let's go back to Myron together. A root shot past and was going to destroy the helicopter containing the two girls, but the rumbling soon stopped and things went quiet. Both girls opened their eyes to see that the roots have stopped moving. The megalith's crystals lost their light and became dull. From the hole, Ash and Alon were carried out by both their Charizard along with all their Pokémon coming out as well. They did it, Shauna cheered as she jumped up and down. Now that's what I call success, Wolfric agreed. Ash, you did it, Trevor gasped. Yes, all right. Karina jumped along with her Lucario. Marvelous. A job well done. Drasna nodded. Soon, everyone gathered below the megalith, where they saw Alon hand the unconscious Chespy back to Myron. Chespy, I've got you. The girl cried, so happy to be reunited. Thank you so much. Alon smiled in response. So all that's left then is that thing. Serena directed their attention to the inactive megalith. Let's all attack together. Diantha suggested. So they all lined up and prepared their long-range Pokémon. Now, dozens of Pokémon moves were aimed right for the megalith, combining into a white stream which exploded with such power it pushed the thing back, though not knocking it down. But to their shock, the crystal started to glow which stopped the megalith from falling over and straightened back up. What? Everybody gasped. From the shadows over the golem's head, two robot tentacles planted themselves into the rock before Lysandre in his armor revealed himself.
Lysandre. Malva growled. Even if you're all somehow able to stop me, I will still destroy the world. Do you hear me? The villain yelled to all of them. The countdown to destruction will not stop. Thrusting his right arm out, a gauntlet-like article opened up, which was something Trevor noticed. The megalith was preparing a blast to get rid of them all, but Serena, Valerie and Olympia told their Pokémon who could. Light screen. Multiple layers of yellow energy formed around the heroes, and the laser blasted through all but the last one, and even then the concussive force from the mega-sized explosion alone shook everybody off their feet. Commanding it so, Lysandre had the megalith move again towards the sundial. Trevor then told everybody. Everyone, it appears Lysandre is controlling the thing with the gauntlet on his arm. Then it must be destroyed. Alon affirmed. Let's give it everything we have left. Diantha said with determination. Seeing the bravery and will of the humans, the two Zygarde Corps came to a conclusion. While the trainers and league members couldn't get close, the two Corps hopped out of Shauna's grasp.
Hey, what are you? She tried to go after them but Serena held her back. Wait a second. The two Corps started to trill, and then they floated in the air as streams of green energy gathered to them from all over the world. What is this? The energy readings are going off the charts. Lysandre shouted. A green beam shot up into the sky like the overdone cliché it is, where a new form started to shape. Zygarde now has a large, humanoid body with a long tail similar to Zygarde 50% form's body. There are several flat protrusions around its head and triangular protrusions around its neck. These protrusions create a crown shape. On its face are 3 white hexagonal marks. One in the middle of its forehead with a line through it and 2 that act as eyes. There are an additional 5 green hexagons on its face, 4 along the bottom and 1 in the middle of a short protrusion on top. Each shoulder has 2 serpentine wings protruding from it. The wings all have an undulating pattern and a hexagon near the tip, blue on the right side and red on the left. There are multiple white protrusions on its body, 3 on each hand acting as claws, 1 on each knee, and 1 in the front of each foot. Additionally, there are green hexagons surrounding its wrists and 2 under the white protrusions on its knees and feet. Its abdomen has a vertical, hexagonal pattern with a thin, white line on either side. Across its chest is a thin, zigzagging opening that fades between 5 colors: red, orange, white, cyan, and blue. The chest can open, revealing 5 cores of each color. Above this opening are 2 large green, hexagonal marks. It stood at a height even greater than the megalith, many stories high. "We are Zygarde. Complete form," the legendary Pokémon exclaimed to everyone that can now hear its words. "Squishy," Shauna uttered in awe. "You hid this form from me?" Lysandre inquired, lowing until his feet touched the rock below him as his tentacles aimed their cameras at Zygarde. "Didn't you see the same world that I did? The unlimited greed of humans have the world spinning into chaos. Have you not felt that? If I had, then I would have done it without you much earlier. You may think you're the planet's salvation, but you're not that special of a human. You're just selfish." Lysandre growled while Ash and his friends went, "Ooh." Lysandre just got shot down by Squishy. Shauna laughed, mocking the armored villain. "Ha ha ha ha. Priceless ha 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 ha." Serena clutched her gut. As everyone began to laugh, the black armor surrounding Lysandre started to heat up red with growing rage from head to toe. Vapor pouring out like steam from a kettle and whistling like one. How dare you?" the villain uttered as he slammed a fist into some rock on his left. "You dare mock me? You dare say I'm not the savior? You think everything is just okay so you choose to remain inactive? I showed you my point of view. I gave you an easy means of making this world beautiful. I gave you the power to change everything. Then why was controlling me part of your plan?" the legendary Pokémon asked, to which the human couldn't respond. At least, not in a way of answering the question. "Shut up. The world doesn't need a lazy Pokémon god such as yourself. The Order Pokémon? Whoever named you that was either mad or senile. I'm going to become my new world's god, and nothing of this one shall remain. You have no right to deny my destiny. A person such as you has no destiny. My hope is in the humans behind me, and I shall not let you pass. I'll obliterate you." Lysandre had his megalith charge up its laser again, though when it fired, the 4 wings of Zygarde glowed and fired 4 dragon pulses which countered the laser blast, resulting in a massive explosion. The golem roared as roots went after the legendary Pokémon as it flew into the sky. With a blitz of speed, the dragon, ground type, ripped through the roots and rammed into the megalith, pushing it back by hundreds of feet. "You impudent fool. Ah." A well-aimed water shuriken sliced the control device on Lysandre's arm clean off as it clunked to the ground. He turned to see Greninja, whom was told to get in close and use the move while he was distracted with blind rage. "No, it can't be. It must be a mistake. All my meticulous planning was perfect." Form lands Wrath Sword. Slamming its 2 hands together, the dragon, ground type, created a sword of green energy and went on the attack. Go complete Zygarde. Superpower Mighty Zeo Turbo Storm Thunder Fury Mega Slash. With each word, Zygarde gave a slash like Raiden would do, that super fast slashing thing in Revengeance, then passed through while each cut exploded, the megalith crumbling to pieces while Lysandre tried to stay stable on the failing golem. Go complete Zygarde. Do it Squishy, Shauna cheered. "Kalos, I will protect you." Slashing its sword, Zygarde created a green Z with the megalith in the center, before the letter exploded in a flash of raw green power. "No, not yet. Keep moving. It's not over," the Doom Lysandre said before being clearly disintegrated by the energy. The blast was large and bright enough it could be seen from space. Dramatic finish. Go Zygarde, you mighty legendary Pokémon. I'm obviously parodying Power Rangers and I don't own that either. I own nothing really, duh. Everyone was recovering from seeing such an epic display of power. "We did it," Ash uttered. "We won," Serena cheered as she went to kiss Ash, along with Shauna and Karina too. The 2 girls stopped as they saw and felt the gym leader snicker. "What? I like him. He's almost as awesome as me." "Back off, he's ours," both of Ash's girlfriends shrieked. Olympia turned to see the Anastar sundial dim in brightness. The sundial was protected. "Everyone, thank you," Diantha nodded. "So, Lysandre is finally gone," Alon said as he walked to Malva. Yeah, but his goons and scientists are still out there. You leave them to me. When I'm done cleaning them up, I'll turn myself in. I was affiliated initially after all. She then walked off. The chessman in Myrene's arms started to wake up, yawning his name. The girl gasped with a smile. She cried out with tears and a wavering smile. Chespy, you're awake. She hugged her grass starter tightly in an embrace. Myron. She heard her name being said, and turned to Alon. Alon. The girl wiped the tears from her eyes. Chespy's awake now. Chess. He cheered. The trainer placed a hand on his head. I'm so happy for you. He then lost his smile. Myron, please forgive me, for everything I did. Myron simply shook her head. Stop. I'm just happy you're alright. Zygarde above descended to the ground, touching down in front of Shauna. Squishy, thanks a lot. Shauna, I'm just repaying the kindness you've shown me. It is I who should thank you. I'm grateful. Floating up into the air again, it sent rings across the sky, turning the blood-red atmosphere to normal blue, and all the roots in Lumiose City to disappear. Zygarde itself started to glow green and shoot off cores to all corners of the globe where they originally were. Soon, there were only two. Shauna, even if we haven't had much of actual interaction in between intervals, to have traveled and learned about humans from you, I am grateful. Is this goodbye? The dark-toned girl asked. I'm tired. Pulling off that complete form takes a lot out of us cores. I'd like to rest in the sun. I'm glad to have met you. Shauna started to get teary-eyed as she brushed one away. I'm glad to have met you too. I'll never forget you, Shauna. I love you, Squishy. I love you. Zygarde nodded before it and the core next to it vanished, invisible to everyone present. The sun began to rise on a new day. All the Pokémon present began to de-evolve, and Ash yawned. Well, after all that, I sure could go for some sleep. We all deserve some rest. Yeah. Serena agreed as she yawned. Let's go back to Lumiose City. After taking down Lysandre and getting some sleep, some time passed before it was the point where, well, not everything is fixed yet since there's still construction going on, but it was much better than when it was initially damaged. Ash and his friends, including a recovered Monique, were cleaning the battlefield of the Lumiose gym while their Pokémon helped. That was when the gym leader's sister Bonnie and Trevor's older sister Juliet came with some sandwiches and cans of lemonade. Hey you guys, I figured you all could have a break with some lunch. Thanks, Juliet. Trevor greeted her as he took one and gobbled it down. That was when Juliet noticed something. You seem different, Trevor. You're no longer squeamish and stuff. I noticed it too when we saw each other earlier, but I couldn't place my finger on it. That's right, sis. I'm no longer the easily frightened nerd that everyone knew me. I'm a hero. The young redhead exclaimed as he drank his lemonade with gusto, getting a smile from everyone. Though the moment was amusingly ruined when he tried to crush the can between his hand and head, and only got a painful bruise for it with not even a dent in the can. Haha, you may no longer be a scaredy-cat, but you're still the pipsqueak nerd we love, Trevs. Serena remarked with a playful laugh. Oh yeah, then if I'm such a pipsqueak, then how did I manage to keep up with you running towards the megalith? The short teen told her off. The tomboy smirked as she walked up to him and bent over so that she was slightly above his eye level. Because everyone else was taking baby steps to let you keep up. Boop. She tapped his nose, making Trevor get all annoyed as he stomped in frustration. I'm not so short I'm a baby. I don't know. Doesn't he look like a baby, Juliet? Well, he is my baby brother after all. The ace trainer said as she picked him up and talked to him like he was an actual baby. Yes you are, yes you are. Come on. You're embarrassing me in front of everyone, Trevor cried out while everyone else was laughing at the situation. That was when one of the gym attendants came into the room. Excuse me, but it appears that you all have been summoned. Especially Trevor. They say their names are Sina and Dexio. Sycamore's helpers, Trevor gasped as he was put down. I wonder what they have to say? Going to what used to be Sycamore's lab, Ash opened the door to see Myron has fallen off a step ladder trying to decorate the place. Once she was able to recover though, she asked. Ow, hey guys, what are you doing here? We're here because we were summoned. Trevor responded. Oh, what's the decorations for? Looks like a party. Serena deduced. Yeah, for when Alon finally comes back. Myron cheered along with Chespy. Monique then smelled something. Is something burning? Burning? Oh no, the cake. Unfortunately, the cake was ruined. Ah, it's my specialty. Myron groaned sadly. We can just make another one. Serena tried to lighten the mood. Yeah, and with my expertise with measurements, then it'll be perfect. Trevor said with a smile. He was then wrapped up in a joyful hug. Oh, thank you so much, Trevi. Shauna giggled. Oh, young love. Serena sighed. I call organization. Ash volunteered. I call decoration. Shauna cheered. I call for the spirits to bless this cake with all the flavor it can possibly give. Monique said, only to get weird expressions from everyone else. I'll also do clean up. The hex maniac nervously chuckled. And so the process of a wonderful cake was in the process of being made. Serena and Foxy were helping to flip the pancakes. Ash and Greninja stirred some stuff, followed by Foxy lightly baking the food with her mystical fire. Shauna was cutting out paper decorations until it was time for frosting the cake, and Trevor plus Myron were going over measurements. There were a couple of times that a mishap or two occurred due to Chespi's and Myron's clumsiness, but the process barely slowed down. Soon, a delicious feast was prepared. Ta-da! Serena presented the finished food to everyone. This looks so good, Shauna cheered. Everyone did their best. Monique agreed with a smile. I certainly want a taste of everything, Trevor expressed before getting kissed on the cheek by Myron. Thanks for helping out. You and everyone. It was our pleasure, Ash nodded. Ah, you're here. A male voice said, and you've helped with the party food too. That's splendid. A female's followed. Everyone turned to see it was the fashionably dressed Sina and Dexio. Hey, it's good seeing you two again, Trevor greeted them. Thank you, and thanks for freeing us. Sina expressed her gratefulness. Freed? What do you mean? The short redhead wondered. You don't recognize us. We're ex-Diox and Asnix. Dexio explained, causing everyone except Myron to gasp. You? Yes. Sycamore put those mind-controlling goggles on us and made us act to his command. While we have been interrogated by police, due to being originally uninvolved with the deeper goals of Lysandre Labs and unwitting cooperation beyond our control, we got off scot-free, Sina said with a wink. That's great, Shauna exclaimed. And now with both Sycamore having escaped and Lysandre gone, there will need to be a new Pokemon professor. Dexio sighed. At least for reputation's sake, even though they shall be good at their job this time. And that's when we thought of you, Trevor. Sina pointed out. You've been filling out the Pokédex all over the place from day one. How many have you recorded now? At this point, I think I've gotten almost everything that's not a legendary or mythical Pokemon. That's amazing. It's due to your passion of fulfilling Sycamore's scientific request and determination to capture and record all that Pokemon. And that's why we think you should be the next professor, Dexio said, shocking everyone. What? Me? The professor? Now granted, you will need to get the proper doctorate and go to college for that. Sina shrugged. But there's no one else that we think is more qualified for the job than you. Which is why we'll be stand-in professors until you can take over for us. Dexio concluded. What do you say? All he got was a fainted teenager in Myrene's arms, whom unfortunately lost her balance and fell to the floor. Well, that could have gone better. Don't worry, he usually only faints when his fears get the best of him or is super excited. Serena explained. I can assure you he was excited. Oh, that's good. Both of the former assistants sighed. That was when the door opened and Alon came into the building. He looked around in confusion at the decorations until he saw the group. Especially Myron as she got up. Hello, Alon. We're having a party to welcome you back, everyone here helped. Let's eat before it all gets cold, not bad, huh? Ash asked, but he still appeared to be confused. There's something I don't understand. The trainer admitted. Myron I get, but why did the rest of you help? Aside from dealing with Lysandre, I've antagonized you all, saying you weren't fit of wielding Mega Evolution. Please, after what we went though. Ash chuckled. That's all behind us. After saving the world, what's stopping us from becoming friends? His sense of forgiveness and goodwill astounded Alon, but after getting over the shock he smiled coolly and nodded. Well, if you say so. Everyone then sat down and ate some of the most delicious food that they had in a long time. It was all very tasty. There was even some for all the Pokemon that could safely eat in the room. So, what are your plans afterwards? Dexio asked. I'm thinking about going back home and see if I can get Mom acting normal again. Ash sighed. She acted weird when my whole journey started. Then maybe afterwards I'll continue on and challenge another league. Hoenn sounds interesting. If you're going, I'm going too, Serena said. Me three? Shauna piped in. Oh, I don't know what to do. Monique found herself in a conundrum. I want to go with you, Ash, but I also want to stay home in Kalos. And I don't know which one I want more.
Well, you have until I set off, so there's time. What about you, Alon? Sina asked the trainer, and he lost his smile. I don't really know. I didn't mean to, but I helped Lysandre with his plan. Whether I knew it or not, I've caused trouble for a lot of people and Pokemon. I made so many mistakes. I can't even begin to make up for them all. Everyone at the table frowned sympathetically towards him. Well, maybe you can stay with me and help Trevor, since I plan on helping him. Marin suggested. Yeah, I don't know about all that stuff you said, but battling you was a blast, Alon. Ash complimented. That was the best match ever. I'm not even sure if facing the Elite Four and Diantha will be as fun. We should battle again sometime.
There it is again. Even though we're friends, your generosity never stops surprising me. Alon then smiled. All right then. We'll battle again. And I guess in the meantime I will help with Myron and Trevor. Well, I guess that settles it then. Dexio said as he brought a napkin to his lips. A few days later, crowds gathered in Lumiose City to celebrate the defenders of the Kalos region. It was a big celebration. Everyone gathered by one of the city gates, the gym leaders and Elite Four members in the back of the stage, and in front of them were respectively Monique, Alon, Trevor, Ash, Shauna and Serena. Even though Monique was out of it for most of the end, her contribution to helping against fighting the villains all the way back since defending the Pokeball factory still counted. Diantha, along with Sina and Dexio, walked onto the stage as well. After the Pokemon champion said all the mandatory stuff to the public, Diantha turned to the heroes and nodded with a smile. You are all amazing. Everyone here is showing their gratitude for saving their lives. As thanks, I present all of you these medals as an honor of Kalos for the bravery of stopping Lysandre and his maniacal plans. You should be proud of yourselves. She, along with Sina and Dexio, handed the 6 teenagers a medal which is shaped like the Kalos region, red on the right, green on the left, and the white prism tower in the center with a green and white striped piece over it. On behalf of the entire Kalos region, I'd like to say thank you. You're welcome. Ash responded, along with all his friends. And don't worry, Ash. When we're ready, you will face the Elite Four and me and see if you'll become the Pokemon champion. Thank you. A camera was presented, and bringing out all their Pokemon for it, the group have been immortalized as the heroes of Kalos. It was finally the day. Ash is ready to take on the Elite Four and champion. The group entered a castle that looked like a 13th century Gothic castle, which Trevor was stupefied by its beauty as it stood tall against a beautiful, glimmering starry night sky. Lost of rib vaults and flying buttresses were used and light illuminated the Pokeball-shaped stained glass. After going through the entrance hall which was filled with paintings, the group found themselves in the main hall, a gray room filled with a blue tint due to the night sky. Malva was there to greet them all. Ash and company. It's been some time, hasn't it? Welcome to the Pokemon League. Hey Malva. How has hunting former members been going? Ash inquired. Boring. I've been rounding them up routinely but they don't pose a challenge. You on the other hand. Well. You might just wipe the floor with us, considering your lineup and all. The best we've seen in years. Thanks. Anyway, just pick us in the order of your choosing, and with that, she went into the near left hallway. So, what order are you going to do? Serena asked. I think I'll do Malva next. If I really am going to wipe the floor with them, might as well go for the easiest one. Oof, no mercy. Shauna giggled. Yeah, you'll beat all their Pokemon with only one move each, I bet, Trevor claimed. Well, maybe more than that, but it will be interesting. I pray you'll reach your goal, Monique encouraged. Thanks. In a flash, 2 pillars of fire illuminated a room, showing that Ash has chosen Malva as his first opponent. His friends watched from the sidelines. So, you've chosen me. Is it because we've fought together? Something like that. Well, I'm honored then. Show me what you can do, Ash. A male referee stepped up. The Pokemon League battle of Ash Ketchum and Malva Buckland is about to begin. Each trainer shall use 6 Pokemon in a one-on-one. When all Pokemon on one side are unable to continue, the battle is over. Let the match begin. Talonflame, blaze on. Greninja, I choose you. Once both Pokemon were on the field, Ash went first. Use Water Shuriken. Leaping up, the shiny ninja Pokemon threw her weapons. Brave Bird. Igniting with blue fire, the scorching Pokemon weaved around the 3 water stars that likely would have done it in, and successfully slammed into the shocked water, dark type, sending her flying into the back wall and fell to the ground, defeated already. Ash and his friends were flabbergasted. Greninja in unable to battle. The winner is Talonflame. It doesn't matter how fast your Pokemon are, nothing gets past my Talonflame with Gale Wings. Malva chuckled. Trevor, what's Gale Wings? Shauna asked. It's an ability that allows Pokemon with flying type moves to land hits more easily, like getting the first hit even if the other Pokemon attacks first. Well, this is going to be harder than we thought, Monique gulped. Greninja, return. Sorry, old friend, looks like we underestimated her. Noticing that her Talonflame suffered recoil, Ash got an idea. Garchomp, I choose you. Sending out his dragon, ground type, he shouted as he touched a key stone, surpass evolution. Mega Evolve. When that was finished, he ordered, use Dragon Claw. Dodge around with acrobatics. With its supreme speed, the fire, flying type was flying circles around Garchomp, whom couldn't land a slashing blow at all aside from the after images. Will-O-Wisp. As the scorching Pokemon moved around, it breathed purple fire all over the mock Pokemon, whom screamed with raging pain as he became burned. Oh no! Monique gasped. The flames of the dead. Malva isn't playing around. Trevor gulped. Ash growled in annoyance. This is going to be harder than he thought.
Now, use Brave Bird again. Once again, generating blue fire around itself, Talonflame zoomed towards Garchomp. Brace for it, Ash pleaded. The mock Pokemon crossed the scythes of his arms so that they'd created a barrier of sorts and planted them into the ground, and then took the full brunt force of the attack as he was pushed back a few feet. While Talonflame suffered recoil, Ash ordered. Counter with Dragon Claw. With a green glowing claw, Garchomp delivered 2 backhanded, so to speak, slashes against the scorching Pokemon. It screeched until it crashed to the ground. Talonflame is unable to battle. The winner is Garchomp. Talonflame, return. Malva said with a smile. You did great in breaking him down. Thank you. So Ash, am I that easy? You're definitely not. You managed to one-shot my ace Pokemon and cripple one of my heaviest hitters. It appears that type advantage doesn't mean anything here. No. Pyroar. Blaze on. A lion with red and yellow hair was summoned, but unlike Lysandre's male Pyroar, which had a full mane encompassing its head, Malva's just had an extended crest coming from the top of her head. A mega stone was attached to the base of said crest. Malva then touched one of 4 key stones on a bracelet she wore. Surpass evolution. Mega Evolve. In response to Mega Evolving, Pyroar shot out looking a bit spiky with the top of her paws and tail growling flame-like fur. The crest on her head also happened to have flared out, flowing like it was actually made of flame. The transformation was then complete. The royal Pokemon roared with power. After Garchomp growled from the burn, Ash said. Garchomp, return. Sorry, but I can't lose you here yet. Talonflame, I choose you. Ash sent out his own scorching Pokemon. Oh, so you're going to use my own tactic against me, even though Pyroar can't be burnt? Malva asked intrigued. No, he doesn't have Will-O-Wisp. I'm just going to use Brave Bird. Now, with that order, Talonflame burst into blue flame and zoomed towards the lion. Cute. Wild Charge. Generating some electricity, Pyroar charged and the 2 Pokemon collided with some mighty force which resulted in an explosion. When that cleared, it showed a recoiling Pyroar and knocked out Talonflame. Talonflame is unable to battle. The winner is Pyroar. Talonflame, return. Once again, I'm sorry. You'll get to fight better next time. Florges, I choose you. Sending out his fairy type, Ash touched a keystone. Surpass evolution. Mega evolve. Once that was done, Malva commanded. Wild charge. Again. Counter with Moonblast. Forming a pink orb, the garden Pokemon was able to launch it faster than the lion could pounce, and was subject to a powerful explosion. The royal Pokemon was sent flying with a cry as she turned back to normal, and crashed down defeated. Pyroar is unable to battle. The winner is Florges. Alright, Ash is turning things around. Serena cheered. Woo, he had us worried there for a second. Shauna wiped her sweaty brow while Trevor nodded. Agreed. Flareon, I choose you. Once her fire-evolved Eevee came out, which had a Mega Stone strapped to the back, the Elite Four member shouted, surpass evolution. Mega Evolve. The cream-colored fur around Flareon began to expand and flare out, along with wispy lines of fire floating around the flame Pokemon. Even when the transformation was done, Flareon still yelled with ferocity as it began to glow in a white aura that Ash was familiar with. Huge power. Flareon, use Flare Blitz. Counter with Moonblast. Forming another pink orb, it appeared that what happened with Pyroar would also happen again with Flareon. Even when the two attacks exploded upon contact, the fire-engulfed fire type still charged forth, shocking Florges before she was rammed into by the physically superior Flareon. While it wasn't enough to one-hit KO her, the attack was enough to leave a burning bruise which she clutched. Florges, return. Ash withdrew his fairy type. Good job hanging in there. Take a good rest. Charizard, I choose you. His shiny black Charizard is up now. Surpass evolution. Mega evolve. To the surprise of his friends, Ash transformed his Charizard into its X variant. Why would he be going for that? Shauna wondered. He doesn't want Malva to also benefit from the boost of fire damage. Trevor told her. While Charizard Y is dangerous from a distance, it's also bad news if a physical fire type like Flareon gets up close, even with a 4x type disadvantage with fire moves. Charizard, use Dragon Claw. Growing green aura made claws, the fire dragon type tried to get in up close. Dig. Malva countered. Burrowing underground, Flareon was able to evade the attack. Fly into the air. Flapping his wings, Charizard flew high above where he circled around the pillars of flames. Malva then saw it. While Flareon may have superior speed, Charizard had better maneuverability above the battlefield and would be able to do hit-and-run tactics, something she knew Flareon couldn't counter well. Growling, the Elite Four member commanded. Shadow Ball. Bursting from the ground, the fire type had a black sphere formed and launched it at the fire dragon type. Counter with Air Slash. His wings glowing white, Charizard sent blades made of energy towards the incoming ball, blowing it up. Now use Dragon Claw. Moving through the smoke the explosion created, Ash's Kanto fire starter descended downwards towards Flareon. Flare Blitz. Leaping up in a ball of fire, the two flame Pokemon yelled as they collided in midair, creating a fiery explosion between the two. However, Flareon was the one to fall to the ground unconscious as it reverted back to normal, while Charizard landed on his feet, and breathed blue fire as a roar of triumph. Flareon is unable to battle. The winner is Charizard. Flareon, return. Thank you, take a good rest. Rotom, blaze out. Malva then sent out an unusual Pokemon. A cute ghost-like Pokemon that had a red plasma outline and looked like an oven. However, it didn't appear to have a Mega Stone. Ah, so cute, Monique squealed. And that's the heat form, making it a fire ghost type. Charizard, use Dragon Claw. Ash commanded, and the flame Pokemon formed another pair of green aura claws before going on the attack. Thunder Wave. Cackling with electricity, the ghostly oven fired a spark of lightning that disrupted the fire dragon type's flight path, and grunted as he fell to the ground. Oh no! Shauna cried out. Now use Overheat. Opening the door of its oven body, a plume of fire shot forth and bathed the flame Pokemon in fire, groaning from the exposure. However, he was able to get up again during that, since the attack wasn't too bad against him. Once the attack ended, the glow of the red plasma dimmed considerably since the attack is a double-edged sword. Now, finish it with Dragon Claw. Despite being paralyzed, Charizard was still able to go on the attack, and struck against Rotom. The electrical appliance crashed into the ground, effectively shut down. Rotom is unable to battle. The winner is Charizard. Ash is doing great, Serena remarked with some clapping. Even when severely crippled, never underestimate Ash's ability. Trevor chuckled. Chandelure, blaze out. Monique again squealed like a fangirl of seeing another ghost type, especially one she had. Surpass evolution. Mega evolve. As the luring Pokemon began to glow brighter than normal. The arms that bared the purple torches split, going from 4 to 8. Its face cracked open as fire burst out, forming a new smiling, scary face you'd expect to see on a jack-o'-lantern. The rainbow glow stopped and the ghostly fixture howled with its fire pluming out in large volume while a rainbow helix glowed over it for a couple of seconds. Shadow Ball. Forming a black orb, the luring Pokemon fired. Fire Blast. Ash pleaded. The flame Pokemon tried to attack with a blue fire kanji, but the enhanced ghostly sphere was too powerful as it pierced through the flame and slammed into the shocked fire, dragon type, and a roar of agony was heard as an explosion enveloped him. Ash had to brace against the shock wave as he saw the smoke almost immediately clearing, showing a flash for a second before witnessing his second regional starter collapse. Charizard is unable to battle. The winner is Chandelure. Now that's power. Trevor gulped. I know, isn't it incredible? Monique sighed like she was in love while her friends stared at her. Charizard, return. You were awesome out there. Take a well-earned rest. Now, Garchomp, I choose you. Returning to the field was his burnt but overall still good condition mock Pokemon. HMPH, you won't be able to use any ground-type moves you might have due to my Pokemon levitating. In that case, that's what we're going to do. Use Dig. To Malva's confusion, the dragon, ground-type slashed into the ground, leaving behind a hole in the ground. I wonder what he's thinking. Monique wondered. Something good, I can assure. Serena answered. Use Dragon Claw. Bursting from the ground, Garchomp came out faster than Chandelure could properly back away due to their similar speeds, and received 2 slashes from both arms. It groaned as the luring Pokemon reverted back to normal and fell to the ground with a clunk. Chandelure is unable to battle. The winner is Garchomp. Chandelure, return. You did good. Rest now. Well, looks like I'm not doing as good as I was starting, huh? Doesn't seem like it, but you certainly had me worried at first. Well, I'm not one to give up, so I'll reveal my ace now. Houndoom, blaze out. There it was. The dark Pokemon Ash remembered when she came to assist fighting Lysandre. Surpass evolution. Mega evolve. Touching the key stone which was attached to the necklace around her neck, the mega stone around Houndoom's neck glowed as the black and white canine began to evolve. The bone-like protrusions around its body bulked up, and the curled horns sort of straightened out so that they looked like they could stab instead of bludgeon. The fire, dark type howled as the transformation completed. Ash's dragon, ground type growled as the burn hurt him. Use Dark Pulse. Dodge and use Brick Break. With his claws glowing white, the mock Pokemon jumped over the attack and proceeded to slash through some of the rings that tried to get at him. Counter with Shadow Ball. Forming a black sphere, Garchomp was just about to slash at the dark Pokemon when the Shadow Ball was fired. Garchomp was blown back, stopping its momentum by stabbing his scythe arms into the ground, creating deep cuts. Quick, finish it with Dark Pulse. Malva ordered, and the fire, dark type fired another barrage of purple and black rings. Dodge with Dig. Even when burning with his status ailment, the mock Pokemon dug into the ground fast enough to evade the barrage. Shadow Ball. But wait. The Elite Four told her Pokemon as it formed another Shadow Ball. Although the others were wondering why it waited, Houndoom jumped back just as Garchomp burst from the ground, and then launched its attack, blowing the dragon, ground type. Garchomp is unable to battle. The winner is Houndoom. Garchomp, return. You were awesome. Thanks for your help. Lucario, I choose you. Hopefully Lucario can outspeed Houndoom. I don't want him to lose to the first Elite Four member. Shauna commented while trembling on the edge of her seat. I don't want him to lose period, but the first would especially bad. I don't think speed will be a problem. Trevor told her. Garchomp and Houndoom seemed to have been equal in speed, and Lucario is faster. After Ash Mega evolved his Aura Pokemon, Malva commanded. Flamethrower. Breathing a stream of fire, Lucario seemed doomed until Ash countered. Water Pulse. Forming an orb of water, The fighting steel type launched it towards the incoming fire, resulting in the two attacks to stalemate and explode into steam. Dark Pulse. The Elite Four member ordered, but Ash was quicker to the counter draw. Aura Sphere. A blue sphere blew aside the steam and smashed through all the purple and black rings until it exploded against the howling dark Pokemon. A flash was seen within the smoke until everyone could clearly see that Houndoom has been vanquished. Houndoom is unable to battle. The winner is Lucario, and thus the victor is Ash Ketchum. Yay! Ash did it! Shauna cheered as she hopped up and down. Now that's how you win. Serena remarked while pumping her fists. Haha, thanks buddy. You got us the win. Ash laughed as he and Lucario hugged, though carefully so that Ash wasn't impaled. Houndoom, return. Thank you. You displayed your power so well. When she put her ace away, she started to walk to Ash. Interesting, you managed to beat me despite the majority of your team crippled. Yeah, we were talking about how easy it would be, but you sure proved us wrong. Damn right. But regardless, you did fantastic. However, 3 more members of the Elite Four stand between you and the champion. Take that elevator there to return to the main hall. Thank you. Returning his Aura Pokemon, he went to the elevator to head to the Pokemon Center and get his Pokemon healed. The next room Ash was participating in was called the Flood Room since it flooded with water. Ash stood on the far side of a pool with platforms evenly placed around a 6-meter deep pool. A blonde-haired man in a fancy white chef suit also designed for Pokemon battles stood on the other side. Weirdly, he was facing the other way. Quote. No, I simply can't say. He then turned to Ash. Ash Ketchum, I have a question I must pose to you. Unlike everyone else whom sounded like either what we think is English dub or English with a French accent, this man sounded German. Do you think Pokemon battling can ever be worthy of being called an art? Sure. That's the point of Pokemon contests and showcases, right? The team trainer shrugged. Indeed. You see, cooking is the type of art that disappears as soon as it is completed. Pokemon battles are the same. Even memories of sweet victory soon fade after the battle ends. In order to devote yourself entirely to such a life, made up of fleeting experiences, that is truly artful. Amusingly, the female referee that came up wore both a cook's outfit and a blue bikini swimsuit. The Pokemon League battle of Ash Ketchum and Siebold Friedrich is about to begin. Each trainer shall use 6 Pokemon in a one-on-one. When all Pokemon on one side are unable to continue, the battle is over. Let the match begin. Barbaracle, splash out. Charizard, I choose you. Ash's choice made Siebold's eyes slightly widen and his mouth to smile. Ah, talk about your deja vu. Your fellow finalist Alon once challenged me with his own Charizard before. Ash gasped. He fought you before. Indeed. He wished to face every challenge with Charizard, likely to prove they were the best of all the trainers with Mega Evolution. So, are you going to give me a similarly artistic battle, or something new and fresh? Why don't you see? Ash thrust out his bracelet of keystones. Alright then. Mega Evolve. Both of the trainers yelled as Barbaracle grew more appendages and a thicker rock body while Charizard spread his wings out, turning into his Y form. An artificial sun shined brightly over the battlefield. Oh, so you're trying to weaken my water flavoring with your sun as hot as peppers. Yeah, not to mention that water types are generally of the special type instead of physical, which is why I went for that. Your battle strategy is not without its artistic logic, but you only made things a little dry. I have more than just water, you know. By all means, take your turn. Alright then. Charizard, use Solar Beam. Charging up his powerful attack, the flame Pokemon unleashed a green blast which exploded against the collective Pokemon, forcing it down into the water since the platform was destroyed. Alright, way to go Charizard. Ash congratulated his Pokemon, only for Siebold to smirk. Stone Edge. The Elite Four member ordered, and as a result a barrage of stones shot from the water and bombarded the fire, flying type, and he howled from the pain. No. Ash cried out as his flame Pokemon fell onto the platform in front of Ash, unconscious. Charizard is unable to battle. The winner is Barbaracle. But how? Serena called out in frustrated confusion. That thing was hit with a move that exploited its 4x weakness. That's what multiscale is for, darling. The Elite Four member chuckled. Even against a grass-type move, my collective Pokemon will not fall so easily on the first turn. Charizard, return. Sorry buddy, I thought we could get him more than that. Take a good rest. Greninja, I choose you. Ash then sent out his ninja Pokemon starter. But wait, isn't Greninja weaker in the sun too? Monique asked as she was puzzled. Only with Water Shuriken, and unless we're talking about a 5 times hit, it's not going to be too useful this time since Seabold's Pokemon are water types anyway. Barbaracle, Stone Edge. Forming white orbs that turned into rocks afterwards, the water rock type tried to hit the water dark type, but Ash was prepared this time. Dodge and use Ice Beam. Leaping high into the air, Greninja fired a zigzagging beam of icy energy which hit the collective Pokemon head-on, whom started to freeze over, now encased in ice. No, Seabold exclaimed. Yeah, now use Dark Pulse. This time, Barbaracle was done for as it was bombarded by purple and black rings, shattering the ice around it. Reverting back to normal, the water rock type fell onto its back. Barbaracle is unable to battle. The winner is Greninja. And thank goodness it happened early on, for she started to evolve into Ash Greninja. Well, I'm certainly in hot water now, aren't I? Seabold remarked as he returned his Pokemon. Oh well, it's time to move on to the main course. Starmie, splash out. Another Pokemon he recognized from his past, this time being Asnix, who turned out to be Cena under mind control. Ash smirked as he came back to the battle just after Starmie Mega evolved, having some more yellow accents and red crystals floating around the Pokemon. Use Hydro Pump, Seabold ordered, and even with the sun the mysterious Pokemon unleashed a mighty-looking torrent of water that could knock out the mighty Ash Greninja, if it ever had a chance to. Dodge and use Dark Pulse. Moving at such speeds it appeared to have teleported, the incoming attack missed, and even with its awesome speed, Starmie only had time to turn around before being blasted into the water thanks to Greninja appearing from behind it above. A glow was seen in the water before Starmie came up defeated. Starmie is unable to battle. The winner is Greninja. Yeah, nobody can pose a threat to Greninja. Serena cheered. Go Greninja go. Shauna encouraged the ninja Pokemon. Starmie, return. My apologies, their strategy was too spicy to cool off. Rest now. Blastoise, splash out. Sheesh, are all of his Pokemon going to be ones I've fought before? Ash chuckled as he saw the shellfish Pokemon Mega evolve. Greninja, return. Oh, not going to keep your ace out the whole time? Seabold inquired. Well, as powerful and swift Greninja is, she's also very frail. If your Blastoise or any of your Pokemon got a lucky hit in, that's likely going to be it for her, so I want to be sure that when I bring her out again, the odds of her getting hit aren't as high. Very clever Ash. Yeah, alright then. Florges, I choose you. Sending out his garden Pokemon, Seabold smiled. Oh, I must say your white Florges is such a rare treat thanks to its rarity. Such elegance and beauty that the rest of us only get glimpses of. Your Florges must be proud. The fairy type in question blushed, giggled and swiped a hand down towards the water specialist as if to say, oh stop. She was a gift from Shauna there in the stands. Back when our journey was relatively starting. She's been a great help, and I'm very thankful for both Florges and Shauna. Ah, you're welcome Ash. The dark-toned girl yelled back in response, a huge grin on her face. Beautiful. Such is the fantastic bond of friendship. It truly warms my heart so. Again, you have the first move. Alright. Florges, surpass evolution. Mega evolve. As soon as that was done, further impressing Seabold due to her even more enhanced beauty, Ash requested, use Wish. Waving an arm over and thus creating a shooting star, Florges finished her turn while the Elite Four-member sighed. As much as I hate to bring harm to such beauty, I will not lose this battle. Use Water Pulse. Counter with calm mind. Closing her eyes, Florges composed herself before being subject to a watery explosion. Alright, now use Skull Bash. Jumping from platform to platform, the shellfish Pokemon managed to get to Florges' platform and bash his forehead into the fairy type, but he could see that through the vapor, she was still smiling. Wish took effect as all the damage she sustained were healed. Energy Ball. Forming a green sphere, the garden Pokemon shoved it into Blastoise's armored stomach, which exploded and sent the flying water type yelling into the water. Now use calm mind. Use aura sphere. Bursting out of the water, Blastoise aimed his 3 cannons at Florges and fired 3 spheres of fighting energy and they exploded against her. But it was too late now. Energy ball. 1 orb of green energy later and that was it. Flying back from an explosion and falling onto a platform so hard it cracked, the shellfish Pokemon reverted back to normal as he groaned while unconscious. The sun above faded away, meaning water-type moves were back to normal. Blastoise is unable to battle. The winner is Florges. Alright Ash, beat his whole team with Florges. Shauna cheered Ash on and Florges. He's doing very well with Florges, all things considered. Monique giggled. Fast, strong and specially bulky. Seabold's going to have a hard time with this. Serena chuckled confidently. Blastoise, return. You did great. Rest now. Seems like I need to go on the defensive with a safe flavor. Melodic, splash out. Now on the aquatic field was the tender Pokemon. Ash, while you have the most beautiful fairy type one can have, let me show you the most beautiful water type. Mega Evolve. While the bright rainbow glow of the evolving process obstructed how she was changing, when the shining was finished with a rainbow helix, everyone was in awe at what they saw. Her blue and pink tail was twice as long and the 4 tail fins it used to have now more looked like 6 transparent fins glimmering like crystals. Her pink eyebrow-like protrusions went from 2 to 4 as they also now had a shimmering film in between as if her head was surrounded by a cape of starlight. She was so beautiful that even Florges turned red in the face with jealousy. Haha, even your Florges is envious of my artistically fantastic water, fairy type, truly the most beautiful of any dual types. Well then, let's see which of our fairy types can outlast the other. Calm mind. Use Scald. Further enhancing herself, the only discomfort from this attack was the fact that Melodic's attack was scalding hot. So hot in fact the garden Pokemon combusted into flame from a burn. Florges, use Wish. Casting the healing move on herself again, Seabold took the opportunity to have his Melodic Scald Florges again. Scald, once more. Counter with Moonblast. Forming a pink sphere, Florges launched it at the incoming water which was easily pushed away thanks to the strength it possessed and exploded decently powerful against the tender Pokemon. While recoiling back in pain, she still appeared to be ready and able. Unfortunately for her, Florges' wish healed the majority of the damage the garden Pokemon has accumulated, even if the burn still took a small toll as she grunted. No, it can't end like this. Use Blizzard. Calm mind, once more. Again, the fairy type closed her eyes and maintained her composure, even against the strong bouts of snow making her feel chilly. Energy Ball. After another burn, Florges created a giant green sphere which she threw through the blizzard and headed right for the frightened Melodic before being subject to an explosion so large a large portion of the water was misplaced and everyone had to brace against the shock wave. In the middle of a destroyed platform, Melodic floated unconscious. Melodic is unable to battle. The winner is Florges. Ash is unstoppable, Serena remarked. Thanks to my Florges gift to him. Shauna giggled. I guess I have no choice. You've been enjoying your main course so much, I'll have to bring the dessert out early. Gyarados, splash out. Sending out the atrocious Pokemon, Ash couldn't help but laugh. Oh man, with the exception of Melodic, all your Pokemon are ones that I've fought before. Just because you've had one dish before doesn't mean one similar can't be much better. Mega Evolve. After the transformation, Serena and Trevor paled when they heard him say, use Dragon Dance. As the extra large water, dragon type flailed around in the air, glowing orange and growing in power, Monique wondered what it was. What's Dragon Dance? It's a move that boosts the physical power and speed of the one that used the move. Moonblast. Ash commanded, but Seabold was no longer messing around. Aqua Tail. Water began to spin around the atrocious Pokemon's tail, managing to swipe away the Moonblast and charged with enough speed and momentum to smash the garden Pokemon into the back wall. And for any hope she survived that, a burn took what was left and the fairy type fell to the ground, back to normal. Florges is unable to battle. The winner is Gyarados. Florges, are you okay? Ash ran to his Pokemon while his friends grew worried. Florges was his best shot of winning against Mega Gyarados and she fell instantly. Trevor started to tremble. What could Ash do now to win? Monique inquired. Now, Survive until he can whittle down Gyarados long enough to survive. Serena answered as she watched Ash return his Pokemon and go back to his spot. Greninja, I choose you. Sending out his transformed ace, it was questionable on who would win this now. Aqua Tail. Dodge it. Even though Gyarados at this point was 1.5x faster than the ninja Pokemon, the speedy water, dark type was still agile enough to teleport away via jumping before the aquatic tail could tag her, though her platform was destroyed. Now use Dark Pulse. Firing a barrage of purple and black rings, they crashed down into the atrocious Pokemon's back, but it was not too badly injured from it. Go up and use Dragon Tail. Soaring towards the now defenseless ninja Pokemon, Gyarados slammed its green glowing tail into the water starter with such force, she smashed into the water, a sound not unlike an explosive going off. Greninja. Ash cried out. Floating back up, Greninja was knocked out. Greninja is unable to battle. The winner Gyarados. Greninja. Return. That looked like it hurt real bad. I'll make sure you're treated good. Lucario. I choose you. Do you think Lucario will be fast enough to even defend himself? Shauna asked Serena. We just have to hope so. Aqua Tail. Seabold ordered. Aura Sphere. Forming a ball of blue energy, Lucario was able to throw it in the nick of time before being swatted by the overwhelming power of Gyarados, smashing into the same back wall that Florges did, but to the opposite of Ash's side as he transformed back to normal with a groan. Lucario is unable to battle. The winner is, the announcer would be unable to continue as the Aura Sphere, which never missed unless blocked by ranged attack, exploded against the water dragon Pokemon's back. It screeched with agony before reverting back to normal and splashing into the water. Oh, both sides are unable to battle. It's a tie. What a surprise flavor. A bitter taste delayed by a few seconds. Both trainers returned their Pokemon and thanked them. I'm willing to bet you're going to use Garchomp. I do warn you though, my next Pokemon could one-shot yours before he gets the chance to get up close. Kingdra. Splash out. A cyan-colored seahorse has been summoned. A Mega Stone was strapped in a harness to its stomach. Mega Evolve. Now admittedly this Mega Evolution wasn't that different appearance-wise. A slightly longer snout, more stringy stuff, a longer curled tail, etc. Well, that's not necessarily true. Talonflame. I choose you. Oh, I see. You're trying to weaken him however you can so Garchomp has a better shot. Well then, I'd like to see you try. Kingdra. Use Hydro Pump. Brave bird. Even though the dragon Pokemon spewed a powerful stream of water much faster, the scorching Pokemon was able to spin around the torrent while engulfed with flame, and to Seabold's fearful surprise, the bird landed a blow, if not significant. Dang, there goes my multiscale advantage. Ah, so there's a reason you were banking on Garchomp. So that he'd be unable to KO your Pokemon and take the win. Hydro Pump. Seabold yelled, and the recoiling bird was drenched in water and was beaten in one go. Talonflame is unable to battle. The winner is Kingdra. Talonflame. Return. Thanks, now we have the means to win. Garchomp. I choose you. Quick, use Blizzard. Seabold tried to stop the Mega Evolution. Jump into the water. Leaping into the swimming pool, the dragon ground type's platform was frozen over. Now, surpass evolution. Mega Evolve. Freeze the water with Blizzard. Taking the opportunity, the entire pool's surface was frozen over. But the glowing could still be seen under the icy surface. Break out with Break then Dragon Claw. With quick concise slices, the mock Pokemon smashed through the ice with white glowing scythes before they turned green and proceeded to defeat Kingdra with 2 swipes, the dragon Pokemon neighing in agony before transforming back and splashing into the water. Kingdra is unable to battle. The winner is Garchomp, and the victor of this match is Ash Ketchum. Alright, way to go Garchomp. The mock Pokemon turned to Ash as he reverted back and nodded with a proud grunt. Kingdra. Return. Thank you Kingdra. Your effort is appreciated. Putting his Pokeball away, he turned to Ash. Ash, I shall store my memory of you and your Pokemon forever away within my heart. I have just one bit of advice. Devote yourself entirely, so even that which will fade and disappear is ingrained forever upon your heart and mind. That is the only fate for any human. I'll be sure to remember that. Thank you. Ash bowed, and then went to recover and choose his next Elite Four member. Two impossibly huge swords dropped into built-in slits in the floor which started to turn, lighting up a wall with green lines before they descended into the floor from the sides first with the center being last, showing the Elite Four member. A middle-aged man in a knight's suit stepped down some stairs. Well met, Ash Ketchum. Verily am I Elite Four's famed blade of hardened steel, Wixtum Knightly. With my magnificent Pokemon at my side, I will reveal the scope of trainer achievement. Let us both give our word that our contest shall be fair and honorable. Art thou ready? Yeah, Ash nodded. Talk about a weird member. Serena commented about the person acting so medieval. A knight dressed in referee clothes walked to the side. The Pokemon League battle of Ash Ketchum and Wixtum Knightly is about to begin. Each trainer shall use 6 Pokemon in a one-on-one. When all Pokemon on one side are unable to continue, the battle is over. Let the match begin. Charizard, I choose you. Steelix, shine brightly. Now, Steelix is already a huge Pokemon, an Iron Snake Pokemon 30 feet long and standing at around half to 2/3 of that high, along with a Mega Stone strapped to its forehead, but when Wixtum shouted, surpass thine evolution. Mega Evolve. Steelix grew even bigger in its area of presence, started growing rainbow glittering crystals from its body, and even some orbited the Pokemon. Charizard. Surpass evolution. Mega Evolve. Predictably, Ash went for the Y form. Fire Blast. Counter with Stone Edge. Tried as the pure steel type could, the rocks were pitifully slow as they tried to hit the fire, flying type as he unleashed a fire attack in the Huo shape, and it exploded against the Iron Snake Pokemon's form as it slithered back. Stone Edge. Again. Use another Fire Blast. Like before, Steelix was just too slow while Charizard flew circles around the laughably slow creature before another Fire Blast took it down for the count. Steelix is unable to battle. The winner is Charizard. Yeah, Ash has this in the bag. Serena grinned. As tough as steel types are, they're incredibly slow. He might have 1 or 2 fast Pokemon, but the rest are just going to be bulky but slow. I wonder if Ash will even lose 1 Pokemon in that case. Shauna pondered. Well, a steel defense is no match for Ash's iron will. Trevor joked, only to get an eye roll from Serena. Monique chuckled however. Hee hee, funny. Aggron, shine brightly. Although like before, Mega Aggron was too slow to hit the Flying Flame Pokemon and fell to 2 Fire Blasts. Mega Probopass fell just as quickly, though midway when the sun stopped shining, Ash switched out his Charizard for Greninja. Why did Ash switch out Charizard? Monique wondered. Even with the sun gone, shouldn't Ash keep up his advantage with Charizard? Charizard likely ran out of Fire Blasts. Serena deduced. While Wixtrum's team is way too slow to defeat Charizard in a straight-up match, their incredible durability prevented Ash from just one-shotting his entire team, and Charizard has no other moves to take out steel types even neutrally. He had his time, and now he's burnt out. By the time Serena finished that, Probopass fell and transformed back while Greninja Battle Bond evolved into Ash Greninja. Probopass is unable to battle. The winner is Greninja. HMPH, you were able to take down my most defensive Pokemon so swiftly with no mercy. You have my respect outside of being the world's hero, Ash. But now is where I go on a proper offensive. Scizor, shine brightly. Once again Ash got a sense of deja vu, thinking back to the Battle of Violet and Grant. When the Mega Evolution was done, he figured that even with his enhanced moves, Greninja's going to struggle a bit and might eventually get hit. Greninja, return. Once he withdrew his ace, the trainer sent out the next best thing. Garchomp, I choose you. After Mega evolving his Pokemon, Wixtrum went on the offensive. Scizor, use Iron Head. Counter with Brick Break. With his scythe arms glowing white, Garchomp had no issue thanks to his speed allowing him to essentially block the incoming steel attack, of which the pincer Pokemon appeared to now be in great pain due to how strong the dragon, ground type was, and dropped to the floor. Now use Fire Fang. Letting his mouth ignite with flame, Garchomp clamped his teeth into Scizor's left shoulder, causing the bug, steel type to scream in agony before it was whipped around in the fiery jaws that was Garchomp before being thrown to the ground. Scizor is unable to battle. The winner is Garchomp. Scizor, return. Excadrill, shine brightly. Ash was quite interested by the look of this Pokemon, which looked like a large mole with a metallic hood and sharp claws. Mega Evolve. Once the transformation was finished, there were some changes to its appearance. The red splotches were more spread out on its body and there appeared to be more spikes colored a shiny yellow like the metal parts of the subterranean Pokemon was now steel and gold. Use dig. Use your own dig. Both Pokemon burrowed into the underside of the battlefield. A big impact was felt from below, and one could assume it was the Mach Pokemon. However, to their shock, Garchomp was pushed out of the ground via Excadrill overpowering him, scythe arms caught in metallic claws. Both Pokemon were growling, but his feet were being pushed back with enough force to break apart the floor. Use Iron Head. The ground, steel type's head gained a metallic glow before headbutting the Mach Pokemon. With a dazed groan, Garchomp reverted back to normal before collapsing onto his back. I know Excadrill doesn't have Iron Head but Metal Claw is so weak. Garchomp is unable to battle. The winner is Excadrill. Garchomp, return. You did good buddy. Greninja, I choose you. As soon as she was out now, Ash requested, Water Shuriken. 3 stars was all it took for the subterranean Pokemon to fall. Excadrill is unable to battle. The winner is Greninja. Surely, your Pokemon are most impressive to beat them so handily. But can you overcome my most formidable Pokemon? Wickstrom asked as he sent out his last Pokemon. Oh, it's another Metagross. Shauna recognized. Will Greninja be able to handle such a formidable mega evolution like it just did there? Oh, of course. Serena nodded. Oh, yep. She's way too fast and hitting it with Dark Pulse. Given how strong she is, I bet some Water Shurikens will stop it. Greninja must be the best transformation, even among mega evolutions. Monique complimented Ash's water starter. I bet she'd be the Honus Wagner of Pokemon cards. Trevor chuckled. And just as Serena predicted, Greninja took down Mega Metagross without being hit. Metagross is unable to battle. The winner is Greninja, and thus the victor is Ash Ketchum. You were awesome, Ash. Serena cheered for her boyfriend. Yeah, best round yet. Shauna declared. Glorious, the trust that you share with your honorable Pokemon surpasses even mine. Wickstrom bellowed. So what now? What sweet glorious pain and joy now rock my mighty heart. My will, which even shakes spears, trembles at so fine a battle as this. I am undone. Good sir, you are almost our equal and worthy to enter this lofty hall. One member remains. The road is still long. Do not waver now. Thank you, Wickstrom. Ash nodded as he went to get his Pokemon healed. As his friends came to greet him after the battle, he remarked, Wow, that was my easiest win here. Yeah, who thought that the steel types, the most defensive Pokemon to take down, would be the easiest to fall? Trevor inquired. I believe that it's because the water types are more well-rounded. Monique reasoned. Even if they weren't as durable, they could be much faster. Especially that Gyarados. Yeah, come to think of it, is there a point something is so slow that regardless of whatever else that Pokemon excels at, its speed makes it too slow to do anything meaningful with it? Shauna questioned. Sure, but remember, these are the Elite Four and their Pokemon. Ash reminded the dark-toned girl. They're considered the strongest in the region below the champion for a reason. Even with their slower Pokemon, they can hit much harder and last longer due to 95% all the trainers being weaker than Serena, Alon and I. And even with my team, 2 out of 3 of them put up a decent fight and nearly defeated me. Yeah, and with Drasna being a dragon specialist, she's going to fall to your Greninja and Garchomp. Serena encouraged him. Thanks, Serena. While she might be more difficult, we'll just have to see. In a dark room called the Dragon Mark Chamber, fog was cleared away when stone dragon wings opened up, and a dragon's head was raised to reveal a middle-aged woman in a purple dress and graying black hair. Although the fog was gone, wisps of incense still filled the air. My goodness, hello Ash Ketchum. Please, come in. The Elite Four member greeted her challenger whom stepped up to the field. Once again she appeared to didn't have a French accent like everyone else, but Ash didn't know what her dialect was from. I've heard about your solid win over Wickstrom. You must be quite strong. That's wonderful, dear. Facing opponents like you and your team will make my Pokemon grow like weeds. Are you prepared, child? Yes. Ash replied. A female dragon breeder stepped up in black and purple clothing. The Pokemon League battle of Ash Ketchum and Drasna Megalos is about to begin. Each trainer shall use 6 Pokemon in a one-on-one. When all Pokemon on one side are unable to continue, the battle is over. Let the match begin. Noivern, let's go. A large, draconic Pokemon that resembles a bat was summoned. It is primarily black with a purple underbelly and greenish turquoise wing membranes. It has a purple lower jaw, red V-shaped growth on its snout, 2 fang-like projections on its upper lip, yellow eyes, and a greenish turquoise color between its eyes and the V-shaped growth. Its large, teardrop-shaped ears have alternating rings of blue, green, and black on the interiors and resemble loudspeakers. Around its neck is a fluffy mane of white fur that is longer in the back. Its wings have 3 red claws on the middle joint and are divided into segments by 2 black wing fingers. On the back of the wing, the final segment is purple. Noivern's feet have 2 toes each and a red, claw-like growth on top of each toe. It has a long, whip-like tail with a blue-green underside and 2 spines near the tip. A necklace containing a mega stone was seen. Florges, I choose you. Surpass evolution. Mega Evolve. When Noivern started to Mega Evolve, the sound wave Pokemon's wings started to grow out and gain some spikes throughout the leathery skin. Its tail became more spiky, and the fur behind the head and crest on the forehead started to expand to larger sizes. Soon, both Pokemon finished their evolutions with a rainbow helix. Start with Hurricane. Drasna went first, and the dragon, flying type, started flapping its wings so that mighty winds blew the air and incense around. Everyone had to brace against the wind while Ash requested, use calm mind. By the time that Florges composed herself and became stronger, the winds became strong enough the garden Pokemon was picked up and was being swung around, crying out from the uncontrollable forces. Now use Boomburst. Noivern's body was then surrounded in a thin light blue aura, the inside of its ears glowing light blue, and then blue static appears on both sides of its ears. The sound wave Pokemon then sent a swirly supersonic wave towards the opponent. Counter with Moonblast. While Florges couldn't control the movement of her body, the fairy type was able to aim her attack so that it connected with the incoming sound's waves. In fact, it even powered through the waves, heading for the shocked dragon, flying type, before the attack exploded against it. As the hurricane whittled down and Florges was able to get to the ground, Ash continued, now use Wish. As the garden Pokemon created and used a shooting star, Drasna continued. Noivern, Hurricane, Moonblast. Although the dragon, flying type, was faster and the first to attack, Florges could much more quickly form a ball of fairy energy and launched it at the frightened Pokemon, the attack exploding against it. The sound wave Pokemon fell to the ground, transforming back to normal. Noivern is unable to battle. The winner is Florges. The announcer declared. Noivern, return. You did well, dear. Rest well now. Altaria, let's go. HMPH, this will be easy. Ash chuckled. As soon as Wish healed Florges, he recalled his fairy type back. Greninja, I choose you. Oh yeah, this is just like between you and Ash with your Pokemon in the semifinals. Shauna gasped in recognition.
Yep. Serena nodded. Even if her Altaria is stronger than mine, or even Ash's Greninja, their bond is too strong to lose here. Mega Altaria seems to be faster, though Greninja's certainly keeping up, Trevor noted. Oh yes, here it comes. Monique started to get excited as Greninja was about to land the final blow. Yes, Greninja did it, go Ash. Altaria is unable to battle. The winner is Greninja, and with that, Ash's ace transformed into her super form. Oh my, I guess I need to step up my game then. Ampharos will be too slow for your Greninja. The Elite Four member said as she returned her Altaria. Garchomp, let's go. I'd imagine even Greninja is going to have a rough time here. Serena commented. While she's hard-hitting and fast, Drasna's Pokemon are on a higher level. Whatever advantage she has will probably be marginal given how powerful Dragon-type Mega Evolutions are. Well, it's just like you said before. Shauna began to explain. Their bond is too powerful. Right. Monica and Trevor agreed. Greninja, Water Shuriken. Evade with Dig. Drasna requested. Unlike most Pokemon, Mega Garchomp actually managed to dig into the ground fast enough to not be hit by the flying projectiles. Jump. Ash instructed. Moving so fast as if to teleport, she just managed to escape the incoming slash of the mock Pokemon. The dragon, ground type, saw the ninja Pokemon stuck to the ceiling, far from its reach even as it was about 15 feet in the air. Now use Ice Beam. Dig again. The Elite Four member pleaded, but with a nod between Ash and his starter, Greninja speed blitzed again so that she appeared in between Garchomp and the hole it burst out of, and blasted it with a 4x effective ice move, the dragon screeching as it was pushed into the ceiling, and frozen there, stuck in its normal state. Garchomp is unable to battle. The winner is Greninja. Huh, never mind then. Serena shrugged. Yeah, Greninja can handle Pokemon as fast as her, even a bit faster. Trevor pointed out. I'm sure Ash will be fine. Salamence, let's go. Ash wondered how this cyan, red-winged dragon type would do. Mega Evolve. Said red wings melded together into the shape of a single crescent, sharp as blades. The remnants of its shelled underbelly have been drastically transformed into a segmented, more aerodynamic, vest-like armored frame. This frame encases its chest and shoulders with the pieces interlocking whenever Mega Salamence tucks in its front forelegs. It roared as a rainbow helix showed itself above the Pokemon. Double Edge. Form a water shuriken. Creating a water star on her back, she grabbed it and ran towards the dragon Pokemon, whom was gathering speed as it flew around while glowing with power. Eventually, it swooped down with speed that left Greninja little time to do anything, but she did manage to roll forward and duck while trying to slash at the incoming dragon, flying type. But the blade wing letting Salamence fly sliced clean through the weapon. Rolling around so that she could gaze up at the dragon Pokemon before her weapon as it fell out of shape and splashed into a puddle. Double Edge, again. Get on its back, properly prepared now. Greninja jumped just as it would seem too late to do so, and used her tongue to latch onto the flying dragon and be dragged along for the ride. Try to get it off. Do a barrel roll, Drasna commanded. As Salamence spun around to try and get the ninja Pokemon too dizzy, Trevor chuckled. That's not a barrel roll. What it clearly is the aileron roll since Salamence is spinning in place instead of. Shut up, Trevor. The blonde tomboy shushed the short redhead as she watched the battle. You're making both the battle and Star Fox boring. Trevor just grumbled in annoyance. Greninja meanwhile was almost knocked off by being slammed into one of the stone dragon wings of the room. She was able to pull herself onto the dragon's back. Salamence growled as it glowed with energy and began to fly straight up at the ceiling. Wait, I didn't tell you to do that. Drasna called out to her Pokemon, whom was too filled with rage to listen. Get off. Managing to fall off just as the dragon, flying type, smashed into the ceiling. It then fell down towards the ground, dazed from the impact. Ice Beam. Taking the advantage, the ninja Pokemon defeated Salamence the same way with Garchomp, and then landed on the ground gracefully while Salamence crashed into the ground covered in ice, and knocked out.
Salamence is unable to battle. The winner is Greninja. Way to go, Greninja. Ash complimented his starter Pokemon. Salamence, return. I'm sorry, dear, it appears we just couldn't win this one. Looking to Ash, she just sighed. Well, looks like you have me beat. I threw my most powerful dragon types at you and you handled them so well. It was a quick battle. I do hope you'll come back again sometime. Thank you. Now that you've beaten every one of the Elite Four, you've earned the right to face against our champion, Diantha. Go, and see if you are worthy of becoming champion yourself, but I'm sure with your Pokemon, you can beat the last of us. Thanks. I'll do my best. So, here we are. The pathway to the champion. Ash said as he and his friends stood before open doors, flooding with light preventing the room inside to be seen from outside the room. To think we would reach this far. Serena was in awe. Well, it really shouldn't be surprising. 3 out of 5 of us had some extraordinarily powerful teams, especially thanks to the help of the vitamins when we visited Lumio City. We had access to all the mega evolutions we wanted, and actually managed to save the world. Trevor pointed out. We're like the heroes of those fairy tales. Yeah, we're awesome. Shauna cheered at their accomplishments. I have certainly done things I never even imagined, let alone possibly doing. Monique shuddered. It almost chills me as much as when haunters would give me a back massage. Her friends once again stared at her. Monique, while I know ghosts are your thing, why do I get the feeling that if you died it would be the best thing that ever happened to you? Serena questioned the Hex Maniac, in which the girl twirled a bit of her hair with her left finger as she grew nervously awkward. Well, it's both a yes and no. I would become the one thing I loved most aside from my parents, but I never wanted to kill myself because I had hoped to eventually gain friends. And that was you guys. You're my best friends and I wish to grow old with all of you. Ah, that's so sweet, Monique. Group hug, Shauna said as she hugged her friend, along with everyone else. They then soon heard sniffling as they looked to see the hex maniac crying with a trembling smile. Then thank you so much. Sniff. You all make me so happy. After the heartwarming moment passed, the group entered the radiant chamber. Stepping onto a platform which took them to a different room on a higher level, which revealed Pokemon champion Diantha Bellaris. So, we meet again, young champions. The woman said with a proud smile. Serena became confused. Champions. None of us except Ash beat you, and even then it wasn't an official league match. True, but you have saved the world. Just like when prior would-be champions have done over the past several years. To my eyes, you're all champions. But this time, with your Pokemon brimming with hope for the future, we will finally have our official battle. Honestly, it fills me with the energy I need to face each new day. It does. Friends, sit at the stands so Ash and I can determine our destinies. The champion requested. Ash's friends stepped aside so that the two can have their match. I assume you will give your all. It would be an insult to you if I didn't. Ash responded as he raised a Pokeball. Well said, Ash. Now, let us commence. Diantha said as her assistant walked up to the side of the field. The Pokemon League battle of Ash Ketchum and Pokemon champion Diantha Bellaris is about to begin. Each trainer shall use 6 Pokemon in a one-on-one. When all Pokemon on one side are unable to continue, the battle is over. Let the match begin. Manectric, let's go. Greninja, I choose you. Going up first against Ash and Greninja was a blue canine with spiky yellow fur surrounding its head while tufts also covered its haunches and front feet. Using a bracelet which held the other 5 keystones on her wrist, Diantha touched one. Manectric, Mega Evolve. As the discharge Pokemon began the transformation, the yellow fur surrounding the Pokemon grew as it fully grew around the electric type, taking the shape of a lightning bolt and grew a solid foot in height. By the time it was done, Ash couldn't even properly see it as an echo of a howl and a discharge of electricity was all that was left before it was zipping around all over the place as a stream of lightning. What the? Oh, that's just a byproduct of the Mega Evolution. She has so much energy that the only way she can stay still is if she's attacking. Don't worry about it, Ash. But now then, use Rain Dance. Going from all over the place into a yellow circle above them, storm clouds started to appear above the room followed by raindrops. Greninja, use Water Shuriken. Empowered by the rain, the ninja Pokemon was able to throw 5 stars at the yellow circle, and landed direct hands. Manectric fell to the ground with a yelp, giving Ash a good view of her body. Aside from the lightning mane, the fur on her haunches were recolored blue and she mostly lost her tail. After getting up, Manectric growled, electricity crackling from her body. Pin Greninja down. Even with her ninja speed, for once the water, dark type was pinned underneath by the sheer speed of this mega evolution. Thunder. No. Use. It was too late as the discharge Pokemon gave a mighty howl, and flashes in the rain clouds flashed before both were struck by the electricity. It was nothing to the electric type, but Greninja croaked very painfully as she was overwhelmed by the massive bolt. Everyone except Diantha and her assistant were in shock as Manectric blasted off to run around again, leaving a cooked frog to smoke on the ground. Greninja is unable to battle. The winner is Manectric. I'm actually lucky, you know. Diantha chuckled. In most cases, Mega Manectric is seen as a situational glass cannon. But in this case, it made sure your victory wasn't assured solely by your Greninja. Greninja, return. Ash said, looking crestfallen. Greninja, that must have been really painful. I'm sorry you fell so soon. Rest well. Wow, to think Diantha had Greninja beat that badly. Serena gulped. Poor Greninja. Shauna felt bad for the trounced water starter. And this is just the beginning. Trevor said. Determined now, Ash turned his hat back, and brought out his next Pokeball. Garchomp, I choose you. After Mega evolving his select Pokemon, Diantha took the first turn again. Use flamethrower. It's unfortunate, but with only rain dance, electric type moves and a flamethrower, Manectric's time to shine was almost over as she spewed a weakened stream of fire which didn't even phase the dragon, ground type. Dragon Claw. Charging through the flame, Garchomp's green glowing claws sliced through the attack and struck against the discharge Pokemon. The electric type howled as she was sent crashing into the ground, reverting back to normal. Manectric is unable to battle. The winner is Garchomp. Manectric. Return. Well done. You've taken out his ace. Things will now be easier for us. Gengar. Let's go. Ash gulped upon seeing such a powerful ghost type. He couldn't risk losing one of his most powerful Pokemon after Greninja. Garchomp. Return. You did good. Rest now. Florges. I choose you. Oh no. I'm torn in between Gengar and Ash. Monique cried out. I want to see Ash win, but that would mean seeing Gengar's glory less. Monique. While I don't have a thing with your love with Ghost, how about you set your priority with Ash above them for once, considering this the most important match of his life. Serena lightly scolded the Hex Maniac in annoyance. Sorry. Gengar. Use Sludge Bomb. Mega Gengar then regurgitated a brown mass of liquid. Dodge and use Calm Mind. Barely managing to evade the poisonous attack, Mega Florges let her mind smooth out and her body glowed with energy. Sludge Bomb. Again. This time, Florges got doused with the gunk due to her comparatively limited speed, and hissed from the harmful substance on her body. Again. Dodge and use Moonblast on the ground. Once again evading, the garden Pokemon formed a big pink sphere before slamming it into the ground, creating a giant dust cloud. Now use Wish. Shadow Ball. Forming a black ball of ghostly energy, the shadow Pokemon shot its attack at the dust cloud, but it simply passed through while a star passed over the cloud. Calm Mind. Seeing a glow, Diantha pointed at the direction. There. Sludge Bomb. Shooting another mass of sludge, Ash was quick to react. Dive forward and use Moonblast. Flying out of the dust cloud, she dived out of the way of the sludge bomb and threw a pink sphere at the shadow Pokemon. Mega Gengar attempted to avoid the attack, but the extra power was able to help catch the ghost poison type in the explosion anyway, dealing damage regardless. Sludge Bomb. Again. Calm Mind. Even when smothered in more toxic sludge, the stillness of her mind still allowed the fairy type to focus and become even more powerful, especially thanks to her ability Serene Grace, helping Moonblast to lower Gengar's special attack. Sludge Bomb. Once more. Move back while wishing. Floating back allowed Florges to evade the incoming attack better while she swept her arm above her, letting a star appear above her again. Sludge Bomb. Being unable to move back any further or she'd go out of bounds, the fairy type braced against the attack, and found that while it was still uncomfortable, the attack just wasn't very strong now. With this, the garden Pokemon felt like she could win. Again. Use Calm Mind. And indeed, by this point, the incoming poison attack was now just a minor annoyance as Florges once again became more powerful. And that was Wish healed her up again. Sludge Bomb. Once more. Moonblast. With a 4x Calm Mind boost, the pink sphere that the fairy type created with humongous as she threw it at Gengar, the poison attack barely slowing it down as Gengar couldn't possibly dodge such a huge attack, and cried out as pretty much the entirety of Diantha's field blew up. Diantha had to brace against the wind and dust blown her way. When the dust settled, the shadow Pokemon was down and out. Gengar is unable to battle. The winner is Florges. I wonder why Diantha didn't use her Gengar more effectively. Monique questioned. Mega Gengar are quite a fast species. Maybe she didn't want the risk of Moonblast making Gengar much weaker than it needed to be. Serena deduced. Moonblast makes ranged moves hit weaker, and with Serene Grace making its ability twice as likely to happen, she couldn't use things like run and hit tactics for fear of getting hit more frequently. Not to mention that moving itself gives Florges more of a chance to enhance herself. Normally her Gengar would sweep away any Florges, that is if it weren't for that this one is Ash's. Yeah, win this Ash. Shauna cheered for her boyfriend. Show her how powerful your bond with your Pokemon and us is. Ash chuckled as she encouraged him while Diantha returned her Pokemon. Halacha. Let's go. Ash remembered this Pokemon. Karina used this against him in their gym match. Halacha. Mega Evolve. Once the fighting, flying type took upon its more Mexican-style form, the champion commanded, poison jab. Surprisingly, with the kind of speed similar to Greninja's teleporting speed, the wrestling Pokemon instantly delivered a strong purple glowing punch to Florges' gut. The fairy type blew in the face with horror as she was blown back massively, recoiling horribly as she clutched her torso. Florges, are you okay? Use flying press. Glowing white, Halicha jumped into the air to deliver a devastating finishing move. Counter with Moonblast. Despite the grievous amount of pain in her body, the garden Pokemon aimed her arm towards the incoming wrestling Pokemon, and the two attacks collided with the kind of power which created an explosion. Both Ash and Diantha this time had to brace against the shock wave of the clashing attacks, and then gaze to see that the two Pokemon have fainted. Both Pokemon are unable to battle. It's a tie. The champion's assistant exclaimed. Why did Florges lose? Shauna asked. Didn't Halicha hit the Moonblast? Yes, but consider how powerful the attacks are. Trevor replied. I'd image having it explode at point-blank range at the level of power it was. It likely overwhelmed Florges while she was weakened by that poison jab. Goodness. Garchomp, I choose you. Seeing Ash bring out his dragon, ground type, Diantha smirked as she thought of bringing her own ground type out. Crocodile, let's go. A purple and black colored crocodile with a gray underbelly appeared, snarling at Garchomp. A Mega Stone was strapped in the center of its chest with an AX-shaped harness. Mega Evolve. Not much was really changing with the ground dark type. Just that it was growing taller, bulkier, and more spikier along its face, arms and spine going down to the tail. This was going to be a battle of physical might now. Who would take down whom first? Use Outrage. Counter with Break Break. Both Pokemon roared as they charged, white glowing scythe arms and a red outlined body of draconian energy. When both Pokemon clashed, they caused another explosion, though this time nobody needed to brace against the typical explosion stuff. What was quite a big shock though was when Garchomp was practically thrown out of the smoke and crashed into the ground, reverting back to normal while the intimidation Pokemon roared in triumph, despite the nasty slash mark it had on its chest now. Garchomp is unable to battle. The winner is Crocodile. Wow, that's another Pokemon that outmuscled Garchomp. Shauna stood up in her shock. Makes sense. In Unova Excadrill and Crocodile are contested on being the strongest ground types in Unova. Trevor remembered. Excadrill has the greater base attack state, but Crocodile has Moxie to boost its attack with every turn. And he was proven right when another power-up aura surrounded Crocodile as his strength grew. Garchomp, return. You did your best. Thanks. Lucario, I choose you. However, before Ash could get the chance to Mega Evolve his Lucario, the intimidation Pokemon went on the attack thanks to the prolonged effect of Outrage. Dodge then use Aura Sphere. Despite being faster than Lucario, the Aura Pokemon was able to cartwheel out of the way before being rammed down. Then he threw a blue orb of fighting energy into the ground, dark type's back, causing it to cry out as both auras disappeared and the Pokemon collapsed into the ground. Crocodile is unable to battle. The winner is Lucario. Crocodile, return. While you weren't long, I'm proud of you. Electros, let's go. A floating yellow and dark blue eel was then summoned to the field. Mega Evolve. As the Elfish Pokemon began to transform, the fin growing from the back of its head split in two, more fins grew alongside its flexible body, and the tail grew seemingly spikier to appear like electricity. The electric type hissed as the evolution was completed. Oh boy, Lucario might have a hard time with this. Trevor gulped. What is it? Monique asked. While Lucario doesn't have any super effective moves against electric types, that's the best he can do since Electros is a pure electric type with Levitate as its ability. No move is super effective against it. The Hex Maniac gasped. I didn't know there was a Pokemon like that. Flamethrower. Counter with Aura Sphere. Forming a sphere of fighting energy, the Aura Pokemon launched it at incoming stream of fire, which stalled the two attacks before exploding, obscuring the points of view of each other. Stone Edge. Counter with Thunderbolt. The smoke of the explosion was pushed away as a blast of lightning and a barrage of rocks clashed in the middle, though the Thunderbolt couldn't be sustained for as long, and thus it was Electros that was hurt by the rock-type move. Looks like we won't win this by ranged moves. How about we settle this with melee attacks? Diantha suggested. Sounds good to me. Close combat. Brick Break. The two Pokemon went on the offense, And despite its best effort, the electric type was unable to handle the sheer ferocity of the Mega Lucario when its two glowing arms were punched aside, and was thus pummeled by the Aura Pokemon until it transformed back and fell to the ground beaten. Electros is unable to battle. The winner is Lucario. Electros, return. Thank you. You did great. Rest now. Looks like I only have one choice left. Gardevoir, let's go. Ash grinned. The last Pokemon to face. And probably the toughest Pokemon he'll face. Talonflame, I choose you. Touching the necklace which held Gardevoir's keystone, the champion shouted, Gardevoir, Mega Evolve. For the second time, Ash was going to face this thing down, resulting in Ash grinning with anticipation. Lucario, use Flash Cannon. Moonblast. Forming a pink sphere, the Embrace Pokemon launched it towards the incoming stream of silver energy. But when the attacks clashed, it didn't explode. In fact, it was actively pushing back against the super effective move, to the shock of Lucario and Ash. Lucario didn't have time to disengage before he was caught within an explosion of his failed attack and was dealt an unexpected end as he fell to the ground was a grunt, and reverted back to normal as he fainted. Lucario is unable to battle. The winner is Gardevoir. Well done Gardevoir. Keep it up. Diantha thanked her Pokemon, whom nodded back with a smile. Lucario, return. We sure got bamboozled there didn't we? Well, you did great. Thanks. Talonflame, I choose you. Oh, using a Pokemon that doesn't have Mega Evolution? Diantha asked curiously. He doesn't need it. All we need is speed. Talonflame, use Flare Blitz. Counter with Psyshock. Creating a swarm of purple orbs, the Psychic Fairy type tried to overwhelm the Fire, Flying type with them, but the Scorching Pokemon was actually able to remain ahead of the curve as he burst into flame, and waited until the attack stopped before dive bombing towards the Embrace Pokemon, whom was too surprised by his blazing speed to move, and cried out as she got hit, though managing to remain on her feet as she floated back. Well, I do admit your Pokemon is fast. Maybe just as fast as my Gardevoir, but the recoil will be its defeat. Shadow Ball. Forming a black ghostly ball, the Psychic Fairy type fired it at the recoiling bird, and was subject to an explosion as he screeched and fell to the ground. Talonflame is unable to battle. The winner is Gardevoir. So, I'm down to one Pokemon, huh? Well, let's see how this final bout work. Talonflame, return. Charizard, I choose you. Bringing out his shiny black Kanto starter, Ash pressed his last keystone. Charizard, Mega Evolve. During the process, his friends were talking. So this is it. The last fight of the match. Serena remarked. Ooh, I'm so nervous. Shauna shrieked. This will determine everything. Trevor and Monique said at the same time. Jinx, you owe me a soda. No you. No you. Intense sunlight interrupted their conversation as it shined very brightly in the room. It was already bright because it was called the Radiant Chamber, but with Charizard-wise ability, it was actually hard to see anything and everybody had to shield their eyes. Except Charizard due to being a fire type. Gardevoir, use Psyshock. Diantha ordered, despite the champion and her Pokemon being blinded. Forming orbs, the Embrace Pokemon launched them at where she could sense Charizard's determination. Counter with Solar Beam. Unleashing a powerful beam of green natural energy, the Flame Pokemon created an explosion which scattered the incoming attack all over the field. Now try to get close and use Fire Blast. Dodge it. The champion pleaded. Sensing the incoming Flame Pokemon, Gardevoir swept to the right, successfully able to evade the incoming enemy, but she didn't know Charizard was anticipating that, and fired his Fire Blast at where she stopped, and cried as was hit by the powerful Fire-type attack. Charizard roared as he transformed back to normal, and the sun subsided so that everyone could see that within the smoke, Gardevoir had fainted. Diantha and her assistant were shocked beyond belief, but the latter coughed as she declared. Gardevoir is unable to battle. The winner is Charizard, and thus the victor is Ash Ketchum. Ash, you did it. Serena yelled as she hopped over the walls of the stands and ran to hug her new champion of a boyfriend. You reached the end. I'm so proud. Shauna cheered as well. Everyone gave him congratulations while Diantha went and hugged her ace. You did excellent Gardevoir. That must have hurt. Take a good rest. Returning her Gardevoir, the former champion stood up and looked to Ash and his friends. After a few seconds, she smiled. Ash, she called out to her victorious challenger. They turned to paid attention to what she had to say. Witnessing the noble spirits of you and your Pokemon in battle has really touched my heart. That positive hope for the future and the warm feelings that fill your heart. They can never be exhausted. They'll never run out. Not ever. I must admit, you are quite strong. Today, you are now the champion of the Kalos region. Congrats. Come with me, for we have one last place to head to next now that you've won. Diantha then shifted her gaze to his friends. I'm sorry, but you'll have to stay here for a short moment. The room I'm taking Ash is only allowed for official Pokemon champions. We understand. Serena nodded, before kissing Ash. Don't keep us waiting. Shauna also kissed Ash. Yeah, we have to celebrate. Trevor and Monique also gave their friend one last hug. You were awesome. The short redhead said. That was a spectacular battle. Monique agreed. Thanks guys. I couldn't have reached this far without you. The trainer now champion told his friends before following Diantha to a section of the floor, which rose even higher into the ceiling where there was a hole concealed. The room above was mostly black and dark with some golden accents giving this place an almost legendary feel to it. The room had a screen, and a machine where 6 Pokeballs are placed. Here we are. I'm glad to welcome you in. This grand chamber is where you enter the Kalos region's Hall of Fame. This is where Pokemon champions will live on forever, remembered always for giving their all in battle to the Pokemon League and for the glory and light that they shared with all. Place your Pokemon here please. Walking to the machine, Ash placed his Pokemon in order. Greninja, Talonflame, Florges, Charizard, Lucario and Garchomp. They glowed for several seconds in yellow light before the screen showed Ash's trainer ID picture, and the pictures of all the Pokemon that had their faces taken before the tournament. Confetti shot into the air while spots of rainbow colors glowed. Ash Ketchum was now the champion in the history books, and his legacy would be known forever. Now's the part where I go over where everybody goes from here. After receiving 10 million euros in prize money of becoming champion, Ash finally helped his mom recover into acting like normal again, where the doctor explained she was suffering from video game AI disorder, where she could only act in a way she was programmed to as if she were a video game character. After a year of catching up with his mom and defending his title, Ash, Serena and Shauna would follow Ash where he and his team would go on to win all the other Pokemon tournaments around the world, becoming Pokemon Master. Along the way, Ash also hooked up with every female he has ever been shipped with. Yes, even the Bayleaf and Latias from the anime you weirdos. This is parody. At least Pokemon have consent unlike actual animals. The only female he didn't get with is his mom. We need to have some boundaries people. Serena would go on to become the world's contest and showcase queen of the world, and even found a cup like Wallace did but better. The Serena Cup. Shauna would spread her friendship to all over the world, and thus solved all the problems. Poverty. Friendship solved that. Wars. Everyone learned to get along. Diseases. Cured because friendship is the best medicine. Truly, friendship conquers all like love. Trevor, along with Alon and Marin, would go on to further help improve on Pokemon science, and created a PokeTube show featuring the Pokédex information about Mega Evolutions. Spoiler. That's going to be a spin-off story. Monique unfortunately died in a freak accident shortly after Ash and his girlfriends left, but due to the ghost rules about unfinished businesses, Monique still hangs out with her friends on the Mortal Coil and is even the protector of the homeless children in both her hometown and Lumiose, acting as a spiritual guardian along with her Gengar and Chandelure. At least now she's the one thing she loves. She will pass on when her original group of friends die and reunite with her parents, but until then, she'll hang with her friends, protect children, and pop into random buildings pulling pranks by saying, "No. You're not the one. I don't know. Hex maniacs are weird." The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts and reviews in the comment box. Now I will see you in the next video.